Morning, everybody. Session 6. This is Grow Your Database. The Marcus Katkin is here. You caught him during the break. He's home to change. You're home to unpack and do laundry and leave again. So if you've never met Marcus, he's one of our mega agents out of our Dover office. He has an 18-ton envelope stuffing machine, which is it's one of your footnotes now. It's one of the things that we talk about. So Marcus is huge, capital H, huge on doing letters and farming with letters. I'm sure that's going to come up in the next 120 minutes. He's a member of our 2024 ALC, and he's back for 2025. A wealth of knowledge. If you have never heard the name Jeff Glover, and you've heard me talk about it because his scripts are my favorite scripts. If you go to the hub and you go to our script deck, it's the bottom center tile. Super efficient, hyper clean. Jeff Glover cut his teeth on Fizbos, and he's built a massive business. And he's the #1 active selling coach on the planet. And he has phenomenal events. And Marcus has a lifetime pass for all those events. So he's leaving again to go to Phoenix for another Glover event. So Jeff Glover is chef's kiss when it comes to the language of real estate. So Marcus will have a ton of great information for you. I'm going to give you host Marcus and get out of your way. You guys are in great hands. If you need anything, let us know, and I'll see most of you. Don't forget, today at 11 o'clock, Keller TV, we're talking about profit share. We're going to explain the mechanics of profit share if you don't understand that yet, and how you can build passive income. And then today at 1 o'clock, I'd love to see as many of your faces for the midday protocol to report metrics, and we're going to be talking about Gary's 6th misunderstanding. I'm going to go here and make Marcus the host and leave you in his hands. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks,
take care.
All right. Hey, guys. How's it going? So I'll be honest, I am super informal, and I love when people collaborate with me and kind of talk with me while we go through these things. So jump in, talk, stay unmuted if you want. I don't care. I actually prefer that. I prefer there be interaction. Nobody wants to hear me talk for 2 hours. Even I don't want to hear myself talk for 2 hours. But anyway, we're here for Grow the Database. As Tim mentioned, I definitely have some tips and tricks for you guys on how to grow your database and get more deals. And I want to kind of, interact with you around a few of those things when we get into it, around what are you guys currently doing to build your database, build your leads, get people down that funnel, and things like that. So course overview. So this is step 6 of Ignite. So again, grow your database. You guys would have just gone through generate your leads. And then after this is capture leads with open houses, which I'm sure will spill over into that a little bit, because that's one of the ways you can obviously grow your database. So the workbook, you can kind of see right here. So get the Ignite workbook. You can go right here to this bit.ly link. In fact, I'm going to do that as well on my other monitor, so that way I can have it up with you guys. So go ahead and get that up, just if you haven't already. Just going to help you kind of see visually what we're going through. And then in the workbook, there's going to be things for you to fill out and things like that. So you just see right here. I'm just going to get mine up really quick. Ooh. It's like all of them. Okay. So today's agenda, we're going to go over through the smart data bank, building your database, feeding your database, communicating with your database, servicing your database, recaps and ahas we'll talk about at the end, and then daily system success. And like I said, if at any point you guys have questions or comments or anything, I'm an open book. This is basically like an ask me anything. I will answer any question, good, bad, or indifferent. So like I said, you have questions, interrupt me. Don't feel, don't raise your hand and do all that stuff. Just unmute yourself and just ask away. So first, your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it is a relationship with those names, is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. So you'll hear that a lot. Your database is your business. Like if you were to ever try to sell your real estate business, essentially what you're selling is your database. The more people you have in your database, obviously the more valuable it is, because the more potential leads that you have. I can tell you, looking at my database this morning, I have 16,102 people in my database as of right now. And my virtual assistant's going to be adding more to that later today. So there's, like, I understand that's large, but and I'm going to mess up the number. I wish Tim was still here, but Keller Williams has found that if you have at least, I think it's 200 people in your database, then you're going to cap every year type of thing, or it might be 1,000 now. But if you can try to get your database up to those numbers and nurture that amount of people, you're going to get deals from that. They're going to know either they're going to have to move, or they're going to know a friend or family member that's going to have to move. You're going to get referral business, those types of things. And again, I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks along the way. As Tim mentioned, I'm big into mailers, so we're definitely going to be touching on that a little bit later as well. So database defined, a database is the container that holds the contact information for all your leads and contacts. So it's important that you get every person into your database. My 13-year-old is her teacher in my database. She should be, that person should be in there. My daughter is, my younger daughter is her teacher in that database. She should be. Is my dentist, is my doctor, is my accountant. All of those people can be put into your database, and you can nurture on them. You can check in with them, text message, email, phone call, mailers we talked about. But you want to make sure you put as many people into that database as possible, because at the end of the day, real estate is a numbers game. The more people you're in touch with, the more deals you will get. One of the things that I would teach my team is I would say, everybody has that one agent that, right, wrong, or indifferent, you listen to that person talk, you see that person around the market center, and you're like, my God, that person is dumb. They are just dumb. How are they doing this? And they're closing 30 or 40 deals a year, that type of thing. And I know of one person like that, and quite frankly, it's for lack of a better term, she closes a lot of deals because she's too dumb to realize how awkward she is. You know what I mean? So she'll actually talk to as many people as possible, put them onto her database, reach out to them all the time, and then she'll get all these deals. And so think about that. Again, it's just a numbers game. The more people you have in there, the more deals you're going to get done. In fact, I'm going to mess up the quote now, but I saw a quote a couple weeks back. It might still be my phone, but it was something like, there is a person out there with half of your IQ making 10 times as much money as you because they're too dumb to not think out the steps they're doing. They're just doing it. They're just doing it and thinking later. And a lot of times I think we kind of slow ourselves down by overthinking things of, well, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do that before I can implement this. You know what I mean? Like for me right now, I'm redoing all of my follow-up plans for all of my leads. And actually, I got it open right here because I was working on it earlier. So one of my follow-up plans that I'm currently working on has 1,399 touches over a 5-year span. That's a lot of emails. That's a lot of text messages. That's a lot of reach out. And every message is different. Every single one. And it's not a repeat email. It's not a repeat text message. It's not any of those things. But again, it just goes back to kind of show you, the more times you reach out, the more times you're staying in front of that person, you start to become the Crest or Colgate of toothpaste. When people think of toothpaste or thinking of Crest and Colgate, those are the only two. There's many, many, many more, but those are all people think about. And again, it's just because they're constantly getting that branding in front of them and hitting the person at the right time. Anyway, database defined. So which part of the lead generation and database model represents your database? Lead generation, relationship management, client and referral group loop. And, you can kind of see up here, lead capture, at the top of the funnel, obviously. Leads, you form relationships with them. Contacts, you strengthen existing relationships, get them down to cultivate contacts for conversion, interactive and needs-based offerings, and then obviously eventually new and repeat, give you referrals, and then it just kind of completes that loop. So what are some things you guys are doing for lead generation right now to grow your database?
Right now, I'm participating in a lot of networking events, calling FISBOs, and trying to get into social media.
Okay, good.
I try to create like social media posts that will almost not demand a response, but like create an opportunity for people to interact, just because I feel like the algorithm works. The more times you get people to comment on your stuff, the more likely your stuff is to be seen. So I do that. And then I just recently started, about a year ago, I had been going through all my Facebook friends and sending essentially the same message to all of them. Like, hey, I have a challenge from my coach that I have to get 20 referrals within the next 20 days. Who do you know that I should know? And I had a pretty good response from that. And I don't know why I ever stopped, but I did. And so I just kind of started doing that again. And in those messages, I'm also asking like, hey, if you don't have anybody that, I might need to reach out to, one thing that could help me is just kind of add your phone number, your email to my database so I can reach out to you with market information if it's something that you're interested in. Can I also grab your birthday so I can reach out when it's time? And it's just one of those things that like another way to stay in contact, but also ways to get information to add them in.
Yep, exactly. And so both of you mentioned social media posts. So I'll start with that real quick. So social media was something that helped me my first year greatly. Actually, I should start there. Where are you guys in your real estate career? Are you first year, second year?
I'm about to hit 2 years.
Okay.
First year, 5
First year.
months.
Okay. So I was going to say social media posts, like for me in my first year, one of the things that I really did was anytime I was out in the field, I took a photo and I posted it and I posted a little story around it. So it could be, the showing that I had that I showed somebody a property and they hated it, but then I still, hey, out at showings today in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, blah, 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 like make up your little thing. But one of the things I found worked really successful for me was when you do put somebody under contract, you can make that a lot of social media posts. There's an under contract post. There's a home inspection post. Maybe there's an appraisal post. There's going to be a final walkthrough post. There's going to be a closing post. There's maybe going to be a post-closing post. So what I mean by that is, those other posts, maybe pictures, maybe the first one, the under contract one is the outside of the home. Maybe the inspection one is a picture of the inspector in the home doing something. And then as you get further down, maybe you have one of the closing and it's a picture of the house and a different picture, not the outside again, maybe a kitchen or something like that. And then the post-closing one can be, and I do this all the time with my buyers, hey guys, you're about to close on your first home. Do you mind if I take a picture of you out front and I'll text it to you so that way you have a picture of you guys on the doorstep of your new home as you're buying it? And they almost always say yes. So I'll take it and I'll text it to them. And then immediately afterwards, I'll ask them, is it okay if I post this on my social media? And they almost always say yes, because at that point they're happy, they're about to buy a house. So then that becomes my post-closing post as well. So I'm getting 6 posts out of every person that I put under contract and close using a different picture every time, so that way to my friends and family that follow my business page or maybe my personal page, they're like, oh my God, he sold 6 houses. You know what I mean? To them, the appearance is 6 houses because that photo you're posting is 6 different things relating to that house. So I'll never forget, like I said, my first year, I had somebody reach out to me who, former colleague that I worked with, and they said, Marcus, it looks like you're selling a ton of homes. I want you to come list my mom's home. And at that point in my career, I'd only sold 4 homes. But it's because she saw the 6 posts per 4 homes, so 24 posts. It had the appearance to her that I sold 24 houses in a 3-month span. You know what I mean? So social media definitely works. And to what Kelsey was saying, the algorithm definitely kicks in. There's a lot of things in the algorithm that will show your post more or show it less. Engagement will definitely show it more. So asking people to comment, asking people to react to the post. The more reaction you get, the more the post will be shown to people, because the algorithm, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or any of those, assumes that if there's a lot of engagement, it's a popular post that other people might also like. So it'll put it in front of them more. Now, I have learned through my coaches that certain social media platforms like Facebook have done a little bit of the opposite. And so what they've actually started doing is, have you seen the people that say, oh, just closed in this house with this great buyer, blah, 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 blah. If you're looking for similar results, give me a call. And everybody puts that, give me a call, the call to action, give me a call, call me at this number, da, da, da. Facebook has actually implemented things into their algorithm that if you say things like that, if you have a call to action that says to call you or do something like that, they'll actually show your post less, because Facebook is actually out, obviously, to make money. So when they see a business page asking you to reach out to them to do business, Facebook doesn't like that. They don't want to show that post organically. They want you to pay for that. They want you to make that a paid ad to make people respond. So so a lot of the, like, I just went through, I mean, Tim mentioned it before, Jeff Glover. Jeff Glover offers he offers 2 conferences a year, and then a lot of group coaching, and then obviously one-on-one coaching as well. I just finished up his marketing mastery for the second time, and I'm actually starting his social media mastery here in February, which is a new class that they're offering. And so these are some of the things that he's kind of already shared with me about these. Like, don't put, give me a call at blah, 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 or schedule a call today. Or he's like, don't put that. Just like say something like, if you want similar results, comment below. Because now your call to action is no longer calling. It doesn't seem like you're selling something. Now you're also getting that engagement, or even just as simple as maybe it's not you, maybe you're trying to target their friends and family. So you say, if you know someone looking for similar results, tag them below. You know what I mean? Something like that. Because now your social media post is being targeted to that person because they're being tagged in it. They're going to be notified of it. But beyond that, it's getting that engagement and expanding the people that see your post. You know what I mean? So that's, like I said, I did that my first year. I sold 8 homes that way my first year, all through social media posts, just posting more frequently, posting things that are relevant, posting things that are going to create engagement. I'm actually working on, in preparation for the social media mastery course that I'm going to be taking. One of the things I've already been prepping is my new social media strategy, which I'd have to go back and look, but I think it's 210 posts. I think it was, I got to go back and look, 210 Facebook posts a month. So it's like 10 a day almost, because you have to remember Facebook well, I know I'm speaking a lot about Facebook, but the other ones do it too. Facebook will not organically post all of your posts to all of your followers. It usually gets to about a quarter of your followers each post. So you may have this awesome post that 75% of your people following your page don't see. And that's why you have to post more than once a day. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting like real off topic. Okay. 4 laws of a database. So build a database, feed the database, communicate systematically, and then service all leads. So what are you guys doing right now to build your database?
Just kind of getting out there, talking to people, meeting people, trying to get their contact information, and then entering people from my phone.
I was kind of and maybe this might not be like the platform to ask about this, but I had this thought, not something I'm currently doing, but something I would like to try with the Super Bowl coming up. I thought about making a Super Bowl bingo card. And initially I was thinking like that's a great thing to mail, but I can only reach so many people and send so many bingo cards in the mail and make it reasonable. So I thought about making a squeeze page where people have to enter their name and email address to get a copy of the bingo card. Does that seem like a reasonable? Have you done that?
So there's definitely a lot of logistical challenges with that.
Okay.
If I were to do it, I would do it on Facebook, just
Yeah.
because Facebook has their own squeeze pages that they use that automatically pre-fills in with that person's information.
Yeah.
So it's click a button, submitted the info. When people are asked to type in their info, they're much more reluctant. Oh, this person's going to reach out to me a bunch of times. They're a salesperson. Oh my gosh, I don't know that I want to put my info in. So
Sure.
that's going to be the first part of the logistics. But the second part that's going to be a little bit more tricky is I'm assuming these bingo cards are going to be different so that other people, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't have the same bingo card for everybody. They have to be in different spots, different places. So creating all of those different bingo cards and then getting them out, different bingo cards to different people. And then, is there going to be a prize associated with this?
Mhm.
How are you going to determine who wins the prize? Like, how do you know, did Ryan get bingo first or did Deanna? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't know.
that's true.
Because you're probably going to hear about it from a lot of them at the end of the game. So there's a lot of logistics there that are going to make that a little tricky.
Sure.
I think I'm trying to think of a way quickly that you could probably pivot that a little bit, but like a lot of times what we'll see around the Super Bowl is, hey, Super Bowl's this weekend, comment below with who you think is going to win and the score, and whoever's closest wins a $25 gift certificate to
Okay.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because again, it's easy to figure out who posted and when. You're getting people to engage with you, which is going to make the post spread to more people. I think that might be a little bit cleaner, easier way. I'm sure there is a way to do the bingo cards. It just,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, logistically, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So it's finding other ways to engage people, incorporate them into your giveaway, we'll call it, and create stuff that way. Now, if the whole point of it, like, so what is your what's your expectation with the bingo cards? It sounds like your expectation is to get people's names, address, phone numbers, email address, so you can market to them, right?
Correct.
So with that type of giveaway, there's nothing in there that says, there's nothing that ties them to buying or selling a home
Mhm.
anytime, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So the problem at that point, in my opinion, would be you're paying for contact info, essentially. And if you're going to pay for contact info, there's much cheaper ways out there to get them. You know what I mean? Like I use a company that I can get a name, phone number, email address for, I think it's like 4 cents a person. It's going to cost you more than 4 cents a person doing this giveaway. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Because
Yeah.
again, these people don't, and I'll teach you when we get through this a little bit further, how to find people that are motivated and then how to stay in front of them.
Okay.
So I'll teach you one of the things that I'm doing that's worked really well for me. So now, when we talk about feeding the database, one of the things I want to point out to you guys that I didn't think about in my first couple of years, and in these last few years, I've definitely become very focused on, is whatever you're doing to build your database and feed the database. By feeding the database, we mean like putting more people into it every day. Like I said, I have a virtual assistant that adds probably about 50 to 100 people to my database every day. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where's it going with this? So feeding it every day. What are you going to do to feed it every day and keep adding people to your database every day? How are you kind of like that? Like, how are you going to find people, target them, and get them in? For me, my first year, I did everything. I did open houses. I did door knocking. I did phone, for sale by owner calls like Ryan was doing or is doing. I was doing all of those things to find out what worked best for me. And what I found is try out a bunch of different things and then find out what works for you. And what I mean by that is my first year, I did 36 open houses. Okay. One Saturday, I did 3 open houses in one day, 3 different properties. I did the first one from 9 to 11, did the second one from 12 to 2, did the last one from 3 to 5. 3 open houses, one day. Ended up raining that day. Only saw one person the whole day. It was a very long day. Needless to say, open houses were not for me. There was a lot of time wasted, in my opinion. It wasn't efficient for me. And at the end of those 36 open houses, I signed 0 people and did 0 deals. Didn't work for me. Now, when I had my team, when I had Kat Allen on my team, Kat Allen, the very first open house she ever hosted, somebody walked in, they liked the property, they were pre-approved, they didn't have an agent, they submitted an offer, and they got accepted. So literally her very first open house, she made a paycheck. Okay. So you just have to kind of ask yourself, does this lead gen style fit what I'm good at? You know what I mean? When I went out door knocking, I did 3 hours of door knocking. I got 4 leads from it, closed 2 of them. You know what I mean? So I started learning, okay, those 2 to 3 hours of door knocking, I closed 2 deals. That's about a deal every hour. That's much better than the 36 open houses I did at an average of 2 hours for the open house, half an hour to set up, half an hour to break down. That's 3 hours per open house, not counting drive time. 3 times 36 is what? 108 hours. I spent 108 hours my first year getting 0 deals. But then I spent 2 hours getting 2 deals. You know what I mean? So I started learning door knocking was better for my personality. I do much better with people when I'm face to face, interacting with them, playing off of what they say, reading their facial cues, reading their body language. I'm better at that than I was at an open house where people are just walking through the property very quickly, and I don't get a lot of time to kind of talk with them one-on-one. You know what I mean? So the next part of this, communicate systematically. So once you have that person's contact information, how are you staying in touch with them? Are you, when I first started, the CRM that I was using would not allow me to pre-schedule text messages or emails or anything like that. So I remember my first year, I would have a touch system similar to the one I have now, not quite as extensive, but I'd be up until midnight every night, literally typing out every email to hundreds of people. You know what I mean? Just over and over and over again. And eventually, as my business scaled, I scaled my system. So now I have a system that automatically sends emails at the times that I want, sends text messages at the times that I want. Again, just staying in touch with people better. Like I can tell you the system I use right now. Let me look at it because I can tell you the exact numbers because that's way more helpful. So last month, my CRM sent 1,181 text messages and 3,806 emails automatically. I didn't do anything. I put them in there, I started the drip, and then it went. You know what I mean? I can tell you that I have a system in that I've developed over the last year that last August, I was the #1 individual team in listings taken. I took 10 listings in August. 8 of them, I just put in my system, dripped on them, and then they reached out to me and said, hey, I'm ready to list a property. You know what I mean? So having a dedicated system, a follow-up plan of how am I going to follow up with these people? How am I going to text them? What is the message going to say? What's the call to action going to be? How am I going to change that messaging to make them react? Because that's the other big thing too is, when I had an agent on my team, this was probably 7 years ago. She got a Zillow lead and she'd had it for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, how's it going with that Zillow lead? And she was like, oh yeah, I called them yesterday. They haven't called me back. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, have you done anything else other than that? She's like, yeah, I've actually called them about 6 times and they haven't called me back. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the message you left them? And she goes, well, I called them and I said, hey, Kelsey, I noticed you're looking at, 123 Main Street in Portsmouth. How's the search going? Is there anything I can help with? I'm like, okay. I'm like, what was the next call you had left? And she's like, well, the next call was, hey, Kelsey, just calling to check in again with you about 123 Main Street. And I'm like, okay, and what was the next call? And she's like, kind of similar thing, like, hey, just checking in. Hey, just checking in. Hey, and so I said to her, I'm like, Patricia, if you didn't create an actionable item on that first phone call, the second phone call, the third phone call, the fourth phone call, it's the same message. If they didn't react the first time, they're not going to react the fourth time. You need to change the messaging. You need to think about your call to actions and the words that you're using to make them call you back. Maybe the first time is, hey, Kelsey, I just got your email from Zillow about 123 Main Street. Give me a call back so we can schedule a time to go see it. And maybe the next day it's, hey, Kelsey, I just wanted to let you know, I just saw some very important information about 123 Main Street that I wanted to go over with you. Call me back when you can. Maybe the third day it's, hey, I don't know how much longer this property is going to last. I can see from my analytics that a lot of people are looking at this property online. I'd love to share those analytics with you. Give me a call back so I can share that with you. And you can see how I'm still checking in with them about the same property 3 different times, but in 3 different ways. The first time was more of a, let's schedule a showing. The third time it was, I have a lot of analytics I want to show you. The second time it was, I have some important information, about the property or something like that. And that important information could be, hey, it's still available. I checked with a listing agent, it's still available. That's the important information I want to tell you. But now that I have you on the phone, what did you like about it? When do you want to see it? Like, those types of things. So making sure you're coming up with a communication method that works, that's consistent. Like I said, phone calls, text messages, emails, mailers, whatever you can do to get in touch with those people. And then number 4, servicing all those leads. I got to be honest, a lot of people focus on getting leads and don't focus on nurturing them. And I can tell you that all of us as real estate agents are pretty bad at that. Like it's, I'll give a great example from over the summer that I had that'll blow you guys away. I sent out one of my letters that Tim had mentioned to somebody in Hampton. She called me, very enthusiastic. And she's like, Marcus, do you believe in Kismet? I believe in Kismet. She's like, your letter came at the perfect time. And I'm like, oh, really? She's like, we live in New Jersey. Our daughter lives up in Rye at our house in Rye. And she's getting ready to go to college. and she didn't know if she was going to go to college in the Boston area or maybe someplace else. And she's like, and 2 days ago, she decided she's not going going to college in the Boston area. She's going to go to the West Coast, which means we don't need that house anymore. We're going to need to sell it. She's like, literally just 2 days ago, she made this decision. And so that we said, we don't need the house anymore. Let's sell it. So I bring up the property and I take a look at it. It's a 4-bedroom, 5,000 square foot house on the ocean, $5 million property. And she told me, she's like, Marcus, we're on vacation right now. Please give me a call in 2 weeks because we are going to be looking to list that property. And I feel like this was perfect timing. This is amazing. $5 million listing. This is fantastic. Long story short, I got busy with other things. I forgot about it. I didn't set up a reminder for myself. And what I should have done was followed up with her in a week, whatever time frame people give you, cut it in half. I waited the 2 full weeks. It's probably like 2.5 weeks. And when I reached out to her, she went, "Oh, great. Do you still have that buyer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but potentially, like blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Great. We just listed it 2 days ago." And I went, "Oh." And I don't know what it is about me, but sometimes when other people get a listing over me, I'll watch it and hope that it doesn't sell. So that way it can expire and I can kind of weasel my way back in. Long story short, it went under contract in less than a week. And if you assume, the cheapest commission most people take is 2%, that was $100,000 commission that I lost out on because I didn't service the lead. I was so focused on getting more people into the funnel, and I was not focused on, I got to make sure I follow up with this lady now that I've actually engaged with her. You know what I mean? So number one, build the database. At a minimum, each contact should have name, contact information, past business record. So I get one thing that I started doing last year that's worked out really well for me is a lot of times you'll get incomplete leads. You'll know the person's name, maybe you know a phone number, maybe you know an email, but not really anything else. For me, skip tracing has done really well. Like you can find different skip tracing websites out there where if you have incomplete information, you can put in the information you have and it'll give you all of their information. You know what I mean? The skip tracing company that I use, I can put in the address of a property. It's going to tell me the name of the person that owns it. It's going to give me their date of birth, their occupation, when they graduated high school, when they graduated college, their previous addresses, all of the properties that they own across the whole US. So it gives me opportunities for referrals. It'll tell me the interest rate that they're paying on their mortgage, the payment they're making, when they took out that mortgage, who the mortgage was with, phone numbers, email addresses, relatives' phone numbers and email addresses. Like so much information that you would not believe. It's honestly a little creepy. But for me, it's powerful to have that information because if I'm going to a listing appointment, I can see everything about them and their properties, and I can casually bring those up in conversations when I meet them. If I'm meeting with them and I'm like, "Hey, Ryan, why are you looking to sell this house?" "Oh, we're moving to Europe, blah, 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 whatever." "Oh, great. That's awesome. You're moving to Europe. That's a big change. I noticed you own 3 other properties in New Hampshire. What are you going to be doing with those properties?" "Oh, we're going to be listing those properties as well." "Awesome. I cover those areas as well. I'd love to help you with those properties as well. Would you agree?" And this is where you can use sales to make people do what you want to do by implying certain things. "Would you agree that it's easier to work with one agent on all 4 of your sales than 4 different agents on 4 sales?" And they go, "Yeah, of course it would." And you're like, "Great. Very few agents cover the amount of area that I cover. I'd love to help you with all 4 sales. Can we get started on the paperwork?" "Sure." So sometimes it's helpful with getting more business that way, or even, like I said, referrals. Hey, you got property in North Carolina, and you got property in Wyoming, and you got property in California. What's going on with those properties? Anyway, it makes sure though that it gives me, most importantly, good contact information for them. Because when I set up those drip campaigns, 1,399 emails and text messages over 5 years, I want to make sure those are reaching the people I want to reach and not just falling on deaf ears. And many of those skip tracing platforms are very inexpensive to sign up for. So command, build your database, enter all the details for each contact into your database. And again, once you have them in there, make sure you're setting up auto plans on them so that they're getting dripped on. Maybe it's a once a month newsletter. Maybe it's a once a month check-in text message, whatever it might be. You want to make sure that you set those up, because just putting somebody in your database is not valuable if you're not reaching out to them consistently. You know, it's just another, I mean, again, 16,102 people in my database. If I'm not reaching out to all of them, if there's 1,000 people in there that I'm not reaching out to, why do I even have them in there? What's the point? Just so I can have their contact if I ever search for them? Why would I search for them if I don't know what they're doing? You know what I mean? So make sure you're putting in auto plans on them as well to kind of drip on them. So game changer, import phone contacts into command using the command mobile app. So make sure you're using the mobile app, let them export it all over for you. If you wanted to do it the easy way and you didn't want to skip trace to get all of the information on the person, there is a company out there called Revaluate. Revaluate will do all that for you. You give them your database and they'll go through and get you the phone numbers, the email address, their home address, all that information, and put it into your database for you. So there are companies out there that will help you with that as well, but this is great for just taking, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in my phone, let's see how many people I have in my phone. I think it's like several. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's not as many as I thought. 1,271 people. So I have 1,271 people in my phone. So right there, if the goal is to get to over 1,000, so that you cap every year, I have it. I just got to import those people, make sure I have good contact info, and then make sure I'm dripping on them appropriately. So law 2, feeding it every day, prospecting and marketing. So again, you guys will hear me talk a lot about Jeff Glover, but one of the things that Jeff teaches is there's 3 types of agents, basically. 3 ways to create new leads. One is personality-based marketing. Personality-based business is basically, I'm getting business because of who I am. I'm like Ryan said, I'm networking with people. I'm going to networking events. I'm meeting people. I'm charismatic. They love me because I'm funny and I'm energetic and blah, 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 and whatever. That's personality-based. The second one they have listed here is prospecting. So prospecting-based business. Prospecting-based business is somebody who maybe calls for sale by owners and expireds all day, every day. There's a person in the Jeff Glover ecosystem. He's a coach. His name's Justin Ford. That's all he does. All he does 4 hours every day is call expireds and call for sale by owners. And if he makes it through the full list that day, you know what he does? Starts it over. You know what I mean? Like he says, he's like, I'll call people up to 3 times a day. I'll just keep calling until they answer. And he consistently, on his own, with no help, no admin, no minions under him, whatever, consistently sells 100 homes a year just off of for sale by owner and expired phone calls. That's all he does all year, 4 hours a day, 100 houses. So obviously you can do it prospective-based marketing. And then the final one is just marketing to get prospects. So that's more of what I do. Before I got into real estate, I was in the marketing world. That's what I did. I did digital branding and marketing and advertising for a series of car dealerships. So I focus a lot on marketing-based prospecting, basically. Marketing-based is, for me, it's my letters, it's my postcards, it's my letters, it's my my paid ads on Facebook, those types of things. I'm an extroverted introvert. I don't like talking to people unless I know you. If I know you, I will talk your ear off. I will not stop talking, kind of like I'm doing right now. So I prefer to send out in mass marketing that causes people to call me. You know what I mean? That's what I prefer. I don't want a prospecting-based business where I'm making 600 calls a day. I don't want to be a personality-based business because personality-based businesses are limited by the amount of people that I see in a day. I want to be able to get my message out to as many people as possible. So I choose a marketing-based business. My marketing-based business is what feeds my database every day. The value of your sphere. So your sphere will generate new, repeat, or referral business. I can't stress this enough. This is actually something that in the last 3 months I've really focused on, is how to create VIPs, how to make those people feel important, and how to make those people think of you when the time comes about buying or selling a home. And I can tell you, last month I had, so I focus on agent to agent referrals. So referrals from other agents across the country. It's part of the reason why I go to these conferences. Like Tim said, on this Monday, I'm leaving for one of the Glover conferences, where I will see hundreds of people that I see every year at these conferences. I've already, the day I arrive, I'm already going to 3 welcome parties, because these are people that I see on a regular basis from across the country. And so by keeping up those appearances, by meeting those people, by talking with those people, in fact, Tammy is in the room, I think, too. Tammy went to the last Glover event with me and kind of hung out with me and kind of saw what that was like to engage with those people and build those relationships. Go ahead, Tammy. I saw you take yourself off mute.
I just heard my name, so of course I get an opportunity to speak. Yeah, no, it was great. It was absolutely great, and I'm looking forward to going on Monday as well.
Meeting those people just over and over again, it helps you build relationships with people that, like I said, give you, they're going to recommend you when people are looking for, like, how to explain this? Tracy Roberts in South Carolina, she's a good friend of mine, KW agent, does a ton of business. I have never sent her a referral. She has never sent me a referral. I don't have somebody moving to Greenville, South Carolina. She doesn't have anybody moving to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But through that really good relationship, when somebody posts in a national group, hey, I'm looking for an agent in New Hampshire, Tracy always recommends me, because we built that relationship. She knows that I know what I'm doing from these meetings. And so she'll comment me. My friends Holly and Ralph Pearson in Nashville, Tennessee, same thing. I've never sent them a Nashville referral. They've never sent me a New Hampshire referral, but based on the relationships I built with them, they're always recommending me as well. So last month in December, I closed 2 deals that I got from agent to agent referrals for a little over $1 million. This month, I'm closing an agent to agent referral for a $1.3 million property. You know what I mean? Earlier this week, sorry. I just got back from Jamaica, so it's been a, where are we in the week? I don't know. Is there still rum drinks? Cool. Anyway, earlier this week, I had 2 meetings, one with a friend of mine who works in the finance industry, who just gave me a $2.5 million buyer referral, because I'm helping him with some of his real estate needs. And so he immediately thought of me when he had this client that's moving to New Hampshire. And then number 2, I got a commercial referral for a $3 million buyer in Raymond on a property that he's already picked out from a Massachusetts agent. So keeping up those relationships, even with other agents nationally, is resulting in, like I said, $1 million in deals last month, over $1 million this month, a $2.5 million buyer that I'm getting, and a $3 million buyer. So we're talking somewhere around like $8 or $9 million in business just from agent to agent referrals in the last 3 months. That's phenomenal. I will gladly pay out 25% to all of those agents, and I will make that a post. I will tag them in it. I'll probably make it a video thanking them again and posting it out to everybody, because the more I can get the word out of other people are recommending me and I'm closing those deals so that those people are making money as well, that's going to make more people refer more business to me. When I can say I've paid out $30,000 in referrals in the last 3 months, that's going to make people go, oh, I can send him referrals too and make money and do nothing. This is great. So keeping up with that, again, the value of your sphere, it's going to make a big difference. Like the people you know and the people that recommend and refer you, the people that have influence over people buying and selling, if you focus on that as your business, you can make a huge business from that as well. It's like the same slide 2 times in a row. It's weird. Who might your sphere refer to you? So are you guys getting any referrals now, and where are they coming from? No referrals?
I haven't gotten any, but I've sent some.
Good. So you said you sent some out?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Where were they located in relationship to you that made you refer them out?
Well, they're in Wisconsin, and I moved from Wisconsin within this last year, so I referred them to an agent in their area.
Perfect. And how did you find that agent? What made you pick that agent?
I used the command referral network tool, and then I called them.
Good. I was gonna say, make sure when you're sending referrals out that you call and speak with these people, because a lot of times you'll see what we call fan clubs that just say, oh, this person's great, this person's great, this person's great. and you're like, I know that person. That person sold 3 houses last year. They are not great. So you got to be kind of careful with that and making sure that you're vetting the people that you're referring to, because that's your name too. If you're saying, hey, this agent in Wisconsin is great, and then they're doing a terrible job, that looks bad on you too, you know? Go ahead, Kelsey, were you gonna say something?
My very first business before I even had MLS access was a referral. So
What was that?
I
I
had,
couldn't hear you, sorry.
what's that?
I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again?
My very first piece of business that I
Yep.
had, where I even had MLS access, was one of my friends who did not live in New Hampshire, but they lived in Kentucky and they were moving to Florida. So that was my first piece of business, was to find the right agent based on my picky friend to be able to have that business serviced for her to move, her and her family to move down to Florida. So it was good. But I did the web, as far as just looking up like the market center on the web and seeing the agents. So for what it's worth, if you don't have your profile filled out on our market center, you probably want to, including a picture, just so you know, like, hey, who am I talking to, kind of thing. And just some information. And then I did call a couple different people, and I will fully admit that some agents, I don't know, you can't give them business apparently because they don't call you back.
Yeah. There's
So
a lot
that
of,
told me a lot right there, that they would definitely, whether they call me, you know, in a day or a week or at any point, they're not going to get it because they did not call back in a reasonable time frame. So it was easy to find and great to set up one of my best friends with that piece of business, or that with that agent to service her business. So
and again, that goes to show why it's important to call those people and have conversations with them, because if they're not getting back to you for a referral, they're not getting back to that buyer that you may be referring to them very quickly either.
exactly.
Okay. So testimonials and reviews. So this is something I focused on my first year as well, was getting reviews on my Zillow page. So when I first started in the industry, I was doing a lot of Zillow advertising because that's the only way I really knew how to get leads. I was paying for those leads, and I was wondering why every month I would spend thousands of dollars and not get many leads. And it's because I started realizing that when Zillow was putting me up against 2 other people, and those other people had more reviews, more sales, more everything, that doesn't make me look so hot. People don't want to use me. Why would they use me with 10 reviews as opposed to the guy that has 100? So I made it my focus to, just like everything else, set a plan in place for how to get reviews from your clients. So ask yourself, when are your clients the happiest? That's the time you want to be asking for a review. And you don't need to wait until the end of a transaction to ask for them to leave you a review. You know, hey, Tammy, we just went under contract in your home. So excited for you. Here's the next steps, blah, blah, blah. By the way, if you're happy with everything that's happened so far, could you leave me a review on Zillow or on my Google business page? Oh, sure, of course, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'll keep asking for it, you know, at the appraisal, at the inspection, at the final walkthrough, at the closing, post-closing, when I send them a little thank you card, I'll ask for that review if they haven't given it to me yet. And so now, if you go look at my Zillow profile and you type in my name, I have 130 reviews. Every single one of them is 5-star. So now it's at the point where I'll actually get business just off of the reviews. I'll have random people call me and say, hey, I was looking for an agent in New Hampshire. You have a ton of reviews. They all seem amazing. I want to work with you. And all that is setting up a plan for reaching out to the people, you know, again, under contract, home inspection, appraisal, final walkthrough, closing, post-closing, asking for those reviews. Even sometimes, like Jeff teaches us in one of his trainings, when they send out the email asking for the review, give them the link to make it easy. Give them at the bottom of it a couple of examples of reviews, because it makes it easy for them. Oh, I can just take this review, copy and paste it, put my name in there. You know what I mean? You want to make it as easy as you can for those people to leave you a review, because you're already asking them for something. So make it as easy as you can for them to actually do that thing. And like I said, reviews are big. I mean, we're in an Amazon society. I only buy something that's at least 4 stars on Amazon, and depending on the item, has at least 10,000 reviews. You know, I see the ones, wow, this one's got you know, a higher rating, but only 50 reviews, but this one's got 50,000. Well, 50,000 people are reviewing that thing. That means 50,000 people have bought it, which tells me it's a far superior product. You know what I mean? So testimonials and reviews activity, what are areas of business or customer service could you ask someone to provide a testimonial or review on? So asking them to leave your review on your responsiveness, your attention to detail, your professionalism, your empathy, you know, your communication skills, those types of things. Again, that kind of gets back into setting, you know, giving them, like I talked about, a couple of examples that maybe they could use those examples when they're leaving you a review. What are your ahas so far?
Your comments about social media and kind of posting every step of the way during a transaction so you can get those multiple posts. Really, all your commentary about social media, the multiple posts a day. I didn't know that factoid about Facebook. I didn't know that all of your followers wouldn't see it. So yeah, that was definitely a good piece of knowledge to have.
Good.
I'll agree that like all the social media information was really helpful. I didn't realize that putting like call me if you're looking for a similar experience would actually hurt your post more than it would help it. So that is a really good tidbit because I think I put that on all of my posts and no wonder why I'm not getting a whole lot of response.
Yeah. Like I said, Facebook will hide those because they don't, if you're getting business off of their platform, they want you paying for it. So
Yeah.
they'll purposely show it to less people than normal. Like I said, a normal organic post will reach about 25% of your followers. If you put a call to action in there, like call me, call, you know, call this number, schedule today, their AI will read that, and now you'll only be shown to about 10% of your followers. So it literally hurts you. You're literally getting in front of less people by putting that stuff in there.
Crazy, but it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with a database and the intent of building close relationships. So communicate systematically, segment your database based on interest, passion, etc. So we were talking about this, that I'm reworking my follow-up plans. As I mentioned, 1,399 emails and text messages over 5 years. They're getting something from me almost every day. And for me, there's like, how do I explain it? There's so much that goes into that. It's more than just, oh my God, he's reaching out to me every day. This is ridiculous. I'm using different platforms to send those different messages. Because for me, if I set up 1,399 emails just out of my CRM, but there's an unsubscribe button at the top or the bottom, and they unsubscribe day one, well, 1,398 messages are not going to them, right? So for me, I have my CRM sending messages. I have a company called Klaviyo, which is similar to like a Constant Contact sending out messages for me. I have a company called Fellow, which is like a home valuation company sending out messages for me. So like just in that, I have at least 3 different platforms sending emails. So if they opt out of one, guess what? They're still going to get emails from the other platform. If they opt out of 2, guess what? They're still getting emails from the third platform. They would really have to go out of their way to unsubscribe from all of my stuff to stop getting messages from me. That's part of the reason for the 1,399 touches, because I recognize they will probably opt out of 1, if not 2. They won't opt out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different platforms. You know what I mean? I want to keep getting my message in front of them. And even if they do opt out of all those platforms, guess what? I'm sending them mailers too. Can't opt out of mail. You just can't. So that's part of the reason why I send mailers too. So like I said, not only is it the different platforms, it's how consistent are you with the follow-up? Are you following up every day? Is it every other day? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? Figure all of that into, like, I don't know if I switch screens, if you can see it. Can you guys see this Google Sheet when I switch to it? Okay. So like, for example, you can see here, I got the day, the time, the email, the subject line, And then if you click here, you could like literally see it all. There you go. So you can kind of see what that message looks like. That's what I'm rebuilding out right now. Emails, text messages, more emails, more text messages, my total touch breakdown. So you can kind of see here, in the first 30 days, they're going to get 18 emails from me for my CRM, 18 text messages from my CRM. They're going to get 2 emails from Fellow. They're going to get 4 emails of the week. They're going to get 4 video texts of the week. They're going to get 4 videos of the week. They're going to get a monthly newsletter. They're going to get a monthly marketing update. They're going to get a monthly maintenance tip. I'm going to send them some long-term nurture emails, like 5 ways to make your curb appeal better, that type of thing. Long-term text messages, and you can kind of see the final touches over here and how they build up over time. That first year is 338 messages, and I still haven't added in my mailers yet.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Are these all messages that you're drafting up on your own, or are they like, have you found something that kind of creates them for you? Like I struggle with this because I would love to do this, but I don't know if I'm like not creative enough to come up with all of these messages and emails. Yeah, I have ChatGPT also, but I don't know.
Write me 10 topics to send to a new buyer buying a home. So these are my topics, right?
Yeah.
It's giving me my 10 topics. I could have written 100 topics, however many emails or text messages you want. I'll then take one of these once it stops. Shouldn't have written 10. Good thing I didn't write 50. I'll take one of these topics and I'll say, write me an email about in the tone of a real estate agent. Here's my email.
Got it.
So it's making my content for me. Now I will admit that ChatGPT is only as good as the info you put into it. So if you're constantly putting in the same write me an email on subject, they're going to sound very similar, right? So you do have to come up with different ways. You might have to change these a little bit. But then I can take all of this. Actually, I'll just copy it here. Copy. Take this email and make it into a text message in the tone of a real estate agent. And there's my text message. So you can create the content very easily. You just need to be able to provide it the basic steps. Now, for me in my business where I'm at now, those were a good starting point. They're not the best with call to actions and being salesy and creating things. Like if you're just trying to create content, great. Call to actions, not so great. So me personally, I've done things like gone to Etsy, and Etsy will have hundreds of templates on anything. So I can tell you that 3 weeks ago, I spent $500 on just email templates to recreate all of my emails. And here too, when it says segment your database based on interest, I have a follow-up plan if you're a buyer lead through Zillow. I have a different follow-up plan if you're a buyer lead through Realtor.com. I have a different follow-up plan if you're a buyer lead through Homes.com. I have a different buyer lead if you were a sign call from one of my signs on my listings. I have a different follow-up plan if you came from a Facebook ad, right? You want to tailor the messaging to where that person came from, because the more tailored you can get with that messaging, the more they feel like that you're only talking to them and you're not just a generic content bot like ChatGPT. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing too, is making the messages specific to their situation and why they reached out to you. Kelsey mentioned before about doing the bingo cards. So maybe you have a follow-up plan for people that responded to the bingo cards. Hey, just want to check in. How did your bingo card do? Did you fill up these? We actually have a secondary chance to win if you got the 4 corners. Send us a picture of your 4 corners and we'll we'll see if you qualify for the second chance giveaway or whatever. Like you can have messages tailored to that. And again, don't feel like you have to have 5 years worth and 1,400 messages like I do. That's absurd and a little bit obsessive. But again, tailor those messages. Maybe it's 3 messages in a 2-week period or something like that. Again, talking about Jeff Glover is very strict. He says that in the first, he has a 3x3x3 program, which says in the first 3 days, he will call, text, and email, so 3 reach outs each day for 3 days, right? After those 3 days, if you haven't responded to a single email, text, or phone call, he stops following up with you. Just straight up, just stops. He's like, there's no point in following up with that person. They're not interested. You're wasting your time. He's like, 3 days, that's all they get. 9 contacts over 3 days. Phone call, text message, email, each of those first 3 days. That's it. So your plan can be as short as you want, like his is, or as long as mine is, just depending on your personality and what you're trying to accomplish with your database. So you can see here, segment your database, VIP, golf, military, investor, referral, dog lovers. So you can get as niche as you want in these to have different auto plans tailored to that person. You know, within Command, within my CRM Brivity, you can put tags on people. So you can say, hey, this person's a dog lover. You can say this person loves golf. This person's a VIP because they've sent me 3 referrals, whatever that tag may be, and then set up auto plans based on those tags. You know, if I have half of my database is tagged as an investor, well, now I'm going to go to all my people tagged as an investor, and every time I sign a multifamily home, I'm going to blast it out to them. Hey, you guys are all my investor VIPs. Just wanted to let you know about this new listing that I have coming on the market tomorrow. You have a 24-hour advance notice on everybody else. So if you want to take a look at it, if you want more info on it, if you want the profit and losses, reach out to me, let me know. I can run the cap numbers for you, like all that type of stuff. So again, you can have messages tailored to different activities and things too. It just, again, depends on how specific you want to get with your messaging. So communicate with your segments. So segment your database, workbook page 67. I don't know that I have. I can scroll all the way to 67, but it's going to take forever. Where are we? 1, 2, 3. Great. 67. Or is it 6.7? It must be 6.7. Because my pages say 6.3, 6. Whatever. Yeah. So just make sure that you're, again, trying to find ways to break down your database into smaller segments and make your messages a little bit more personalized is basically what that workbook is getting into. And it has a notes section where you can write out like your different basically tags that you would put on people. So communicate with your segments. You can see here, golf, investor, dog lovers, same touch newsletter, customize the messaging examples. So review of golf courses per neighborhood in the area relevant to the geographic location of the people in the segment, market stats in different geographic locations based on markets people are moving to and moving from, listing of upcoming low-cost vaccination sites or other low-cost pet services. So you can kind of see how, based on those different tags, the different content you can make around that, you know what I mean, to engage those types of people. Honestly, what I would probably do is if you're going to focus on niche activities like this, have it be activities that you enjoy and you can relate to and talk about a lot, and then start with like 2 to 3. Don't do like they did on this previous slide and make one for a VIP and a golf and military and investor and referrals and dog lovers all at once. It's going to become overwhelming for you. Pick one, build out that plan, then move to the second one. Build out that plan, then move to the third, and keep growing that way. It's going to be less overwhelming and you're going to accomplish more faster. Communicate with value. So you can kind of see here, this is kind of the old 36 touch program. So KW says you should reach out to somebody 36 times every year in order to make them think of you first when it comes to buying or selling real estate. This is kind of an older mantra. It's now believed that I think it's up to like 52 or 53 times a year is how many times you should be reaching out to them. I mean, like I said, I'm reaching out to 338 times in that first year. So I'm doing way above and beyond that, but that's because I understand here, like leads, 19 to connect, 4 touches, quarterly phone calls. Well, what if I call them 4 times and they don't answer any of those 4 times? You know, 12 touches, monthly email, newsletter, market report, video. So monthly email. What if that person, my mom never checks her email. She's old. She doesn't check it like once a month, like once a week. It's crazy. So I don't want to be sending newsletters to people that aren't reading them. Or maybe they're like me and they literally get hundreds of emails a day and they just don't have time to read all of them. So they're not going to see it. Promotional direct mail, such as a magnet calendar, printed marketing report, etc. So 2 touches there. I would actually recommend a lot more than 2 mailers a year. That's me. I'm the mailer guy. I'm going to say that. 1 annual event for the clients. 1 to cement. So this is like a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you've just established. So this could be something like maybe you take that person out for coffee just to build that relationship a little bit more, get a little bit more one-on-one with that person for half an hour or whatever. And you can kind of see over here, contacts, 36 to convert, 4 phone calls, 26 touches, so bi-weekly email, so once every 2 weeks, 2 events, 4 mailers. Again, make it as extensive as you want or as small as you want, but the more times you're reaching out to people, the more they're going to think of you when that time comes. Communicate with your segments. So pair touches with value, workbook page 6.8. Yeah, so again, 6.8 kind of just gets into area of business or service, and then who from my SOI could provide me a testimonial or review. So reaching out to those people about, hey, leave me a review in different areas. Like when I meet with sellers now, when I go on a listing appointment, my listing appointment packet is full of all of my sellers that I've worked with that left me a review where it's very clear the review was around selling. You know what I mean? You don't want to hand somebody all your reviews and 90% of them are about buyers when you're meeting with them about listing their home. It's going to make you look like, okay, he's got a lot of reviews, but he's never helped sellers before. You know what I mean? So getting people to kind of leave reviews around what they did and then having that to kind of show, like when I do my listing presentation with people now, literally this is the verbiage that I use. I talk about myself, all my accolades and all the blah, blah, blah. And then I say to them, because I want to relate to them and show them that I'm a person and not just a salesperson, I go, at the end of the day, I could tell you all my accolades. That's irrelevant. I'm a sales guy. Of course, I'm going to tell you how great I am. Don't take my word for it. Go on Zillow, look at the 130 people that have left me 5-star reviews and read what they've said, because they're going to tell you honestly. You know what I mean? So I'll tell them, go there. Don't trust me. You shouldn't trust me. I'm a sales guy. Trust those people because they're not salespeople. They left me a review because they felt I did such an exceptional job that they took 10 minutes out of their day to write that about me. They didn't have to do it. They wanted to do it. That's how much they loved working with me. And a lot of times when I tell people that, quite frankly, they don't even look at the reviews because they just say, oh, I trust them. Kind of like how we look at Amazon reviews. 40,000 reviews, 4.7 out of 5. Well, now I'm buying it. Did I read 50,000 reviews? No, I trusted that it was a good product based off the reviews and the number and all that type of stuff. So what do we think? What do we got for ahas so far? I think we're, well, we might have to speed it up a little bit, about halfway, a little more than halfway through the course. Any ahas? We use up all the ahas in the first aha?
Possibly.
That's fine, it happens. Sometimes I'm just not that interesting.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's fine. All right, your job is to build a community and serve the community, Gary Keller. So Law 4, service all the leads. Plan for a lead follow-up program to leverage every opportunity. And again, this is where I think a lot of people fail because they're so focused on how do I talk to more people that when they get someone that's interested, they don't know how to talk to that person moving forward. Okay, hey, Marcus, I'm interested in selling my house, but not for another 6 months. Okay, great. I don't know what to do now for 6 months. Do I reach out to them? Do I not reach out to them? Do I wait 3 months and cut it in half like they say? But will he remember me in 3 months? What happens if their plans change and after 2 months they decide to list? So you got to think about what is that follow-up plan once you've talked to somebody I mean, let me ask you guys, what would you do if somebody said, I'm looking to list my house in 6 months? What would be your plan and how would you follow up with them?
It might be a good idea to give them market data for like every month.
Yep, that's a good start. Yep. How would you send them that data?
Probably through email. I think NOR website has like all the statistics to pull your market data from, and you can just pull that and email it to them.
Good. I like that. Anybody else?
And then maybe after you send the market data, send a text the next day following up. Like, hey, I'm not sure if you saw the information I sent you, but yada yada yada. Maybe do some explanation on what that data means.
Sure. So I would even take it a step further. Yes, those are great. That's great. I would take it a step further because we talked about it earlier about personalizing the message to make it feel like it's only talking to them. So, let's pretend Ryan has a house at 123 Main Street in Portsmouth, and he tells me, hey, I'm 6 months out. Great. One of the things I would do is for the next 6 months, I would have set myself up in Naren that every time a property is listed or sold on that street, it notifies me so I can notify Ryan. Hey, Ryan, I know you're not looking to sell for another 6 months. I just want to let you know 456 Main Street just sold for 1.2 million. Just wanted to let you know that information. Or, hey, it was just listed at 1.2 million. And then, 45 days later, hey, it just sold for 1.4 million or whatever. Because you are giving the market statistics, and you should give the general market statistics, but it's going to feel way more personalized if you're alerting them every time a property in their road is listed and every time it sells. And if you can give them more data behind that, like, hey, there were multiple offers in that property, that's what drove it up over asking. Would you be interested in finding out what your home is worth today based off of that sale? Because that sale now resets the market for your area. You know what I mean? It impacts your value. Are you interested in finding out how that impacts your value? Why don't we meet ahead of time? Or if they're 6 months out, at that 3-month mark, maybe you reach out to them and just say, hey, Ryan, I know you're not planning to sell your home for 6 months. We're at the 3-month out mark. This is around the time that I find that most of my clients are getting ready to do repairs to their home or repaint rooms or other things like that. I'd love to come meet with you now, and I can tell you what I think would add value and what I think wouldn't add value. Because too many of my clients say to me, I want to sell in 6 months, and then I meet them in 6 months, and they say, oh yeah, we just put a new furnace in. It cost me this is a true story. I just put a new furnace in about 2 weeks ago. It cost me $10,000. I put a new furnace in, cost me $10,000. My home must be worth $10,000 more now. Well, no, Ryan. People expect when they buy a house that the furnace is working. So what you did was general maintenance. It didn't increase the value of your home. I wish we could have talked about that prior to this, because maybe there would have been a way that we could Band-Aid the furnace together for now. And then at the inspection, maybe offer them a $5,000 concession for a new furnace, negotiate that through. I have a client right now. We didn't know this, obviously, but we had a home inspection done. The septic tank and leach field were bad. $19,000 repair. Do you think my client paid the whole $19,000 as a concession? No, we negotiated on 10. So if I had told her in advance, if we had known this in advance, and I told her, hey, replace the septic tank and leach field, after the inspection period, they would have found something else to negotiate on. You know what I mean? So instead of spending $19,000, she's only spending 10, and it prevented us from having to negotiate other items as well. Again, that's probably a bad scenario, like to explain out, just because if you know something's wrong, like I said, a furnace, you don't want to Band-Aid it together. That's kind of, be a little more ethical than that, I guess. It's legal, but not the way I would want to do them. But again, it's up to your seller. But if it's something like installing new flooring, repainting rooms, that type of thing, maybe you tell them, hey, let's hold off on that. Let's just decrease the price a little bit, because you're going to repaint the room tan. That maybe the person that buys your house hates tan and they want gray. And now they got to repaint the room anyway. I did a flip house a year and a half ago. This is no exaggeration. It's really frustrating. There was a white picket fence out front. It was a very long white picket fence. It was probably about 300 feet long. It was an older fence. So I had to go through and find each of the slats that were loose and put a new nail in them to hold them in. Then I had to go back through and paint 300 feet of fence to make it look really good, right? I did all that. I listed the property. I sold the property. Drove by it about 2 weeks later. Guess what? They ripped the fence out. It took me a week to do all that work. I was so angry. Now, why am I angry? I don't care. It's not my house anymore. I got my money. I made my money. I'm out. But it's things like that. It's you may be doing some work that doesn't need to get done. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting like way off topic. So follow up with your people. Make sure you have a system in place for following up with your people for that 6 months while they're waiting. For me, a lot of times it's mailers. I send them a lot of mailers. I will drip on them with an email and a text message and things like that. But I find that mailers work out really well because they're a subtle reminder of who I am and that we talked and my picture's on it. And hey, look, I just put this person under contract. Hey, look, this person just closed. Hey, look, this one has an open house this weekend. Again, it gives the appearance of all of these properties that I'm selling when there's one under contract, there's one sold one, there's one open house one, whatever. It's giving the appearance to them of like, wow, look, he's selling a lot of houses and near where I am, you know? So it's a softer approach with that. So you can see here, service all leads, opportunities, commands, consumer. Hopefully you guys have played around in command enough by now that you fully understand those tabs and things, and hopefully don't need to go through that. So database into smart database, into data bank. And again, for me in that process, you know, my contacts, well, I'll share one of my ways in a second that I use that. Well, no, I'll just share all of it right now. It's fine. So for me, turning a database into a smart database into a data bank starts with the contacts. So for me, what are some of the contacts I'm feeding my database? Well, I send out golden letters to people. That's the machine that Tim had talked about that I have in my office. I'll send out about 3,000 to 4,000 letters a week, and I'll usually get about 30 to 40 responses from people. And to be quite honest, the response I get from a lot of those people are, I was thinking about selling in 6 months. I was thinking about selling in a year, but I got your letter and I figured I'd call and just see if your buyer was interested in my property. And we'll start that conversation. And 99% of those people are not ready to do anything right there. So then I go, okay, well, since I know you're not looking to sell right now, and this isn't actually a good fit for my buyer right now, you know, Kelsey, what I'd love to do for you is if I can get your email address from you, I can put you into this database that I have where twice a month it'll send you an email with your home valuation. And it's going to tell you what you could do with that money. Like, could you invest it into bonds? Could you refinance it and get a lower rate? Could you take that money out as a cash out refinance and buy an investment property? You know, those types of things. If you'd like, that is a free service that I give to my clients. I know you're not one of my clients yet. Again, yet, you're subliminally putting that in there. I know you're not one of my clients yet, but I'll make the exception and I'll open that up to you. If you give me your email address, I'll put you in that system so you get those emails from me twice a month. I haven't had a person say no to me. They go, sure, that sounds great. But even if you didn't get that information from them, I can go into my skip tracing now and I have their name, I have their phone number. I can put it into my skip tracing and I can get their address, I can get their email, I can get all those other things and then opt them into my systems. Because with the new TCPA laws that are coming out next week, I think it is, they have to opt into you. Their opt into me was them calling about my letter I sent them, right? So now I have the opt-in, I can put them into all my things, I can email them, I can text them, I can do all those things. And so that's where, going back to my CRM here in my dashboard, you can, this is this week, but 312 text messages sent, 875 emails sent. That is all done through what we call the data bank, which is my CRM working for me when I'm sleeping, sending emails, sending text messages, doing whatever. So I'm turning my contact from the person that responded to my letter. I'm using my skip tracing to get all of their info and make it smart, and then putting it into my CRM so that my CRM will create the business for me so that I can be in Jamaica for 5 days drinking rum punches. So ignite your command with tags. Keep track of your lead sources, relationships, and reward referrals by using tags. I got to be honest, I have to be better about using tags so that I can get more personalized with my auto plans and things like that. But again, tags are very, very important if you really want to niche down into those people and really have focused marketing that's talking to that person. So here we are, ignite your command with tags. What tags to use? Look at workbook page 70. Oh, mine's different. I don't know. It's weird. So you can kind of see here, like initial tags, housekeeping tags, who lives in the house with the client. You can kind of see like occupation tags, hobbies tags, disc, so you can keep track of their personalities. That's really good. Because if someone's a D, you're going to talk to them much differently than you would a C or an S. You know what I mean? So kind of learning those things, and then tagging them that way so that I'm a very high D personality. Get to the point with me. Don't did you call this lead yesterday? Like, this is an argument I used to get with my teammates. Did you call this lead? Well, I got the lead, and then I had to take care of my kid, and then the laundry was done, and then I had to make dinner, and then I had to go on this appointment, and then this other client called me, so then I forgot. I don't want that. The answer was no. No, you did not call the client. I don't need the fluff story around it. I'm a very D personality. Now, my wife, she's much more of like an S and a C personality. So she is the type that she would want to know all the details about. Oh, so what happened? Okay, great. She would love that stuff. I hate that stuff. Just get to the point with me. I don't have time. So those are important things to track and then keep in your database so that hey, when I call Tammy, I got to get straight to the point. But when I call Ryan, maybe Ryan's more of a C personality and wants to know the details of what I'm doing on his listing. Well, this week, Ryan, your ads went out to 2,000 people, 100 people clicked on the link, and 50 people submitted their information, and we're currently following up with them. That's what Ryan wants to hear. Tammy wants to hear something different because she's a D. I'm not saying you guys are actually those personalities, but you get the point. Ahas. Well, now I feel like I'm going way too fast because now I'm like 3/4 through this.
Doing great.
Do you guys have any ahas or anything you want to talk about? Because now I am going a little too fast. We'll have time at the end for Q&A, but now I feel like I am speeding through this a little bit too much.
I actually think that the tagging your database with the disc profiles is really smart, because that will also help to target what kind of information you're going to send to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's I think I don't know, I don't have it in front of me and it's been a while, but if you're an I, are you sending more numbers to them? And then if you're an S.
So I is more of an influencer. Influencers are the personality-based people that they're the people that walk into a room and let everybody know that they're there and then talk to everybody. Just walk up to people and talk to everybody and just talk.
So it's a C that C people would want more numbers. I don't know. It's been a while.
C is the more detailed person that wants the numbers. S
so that would help to kind of target who gets what information in what format.
Yeah. S is more of the supportive person, and they want to support you and they want to be supported. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I won't get into it in this class, obviously, but if you Google it, I used to have it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I actually have, when I'm meeting with a new client, whether it be a buyer or a seller, you have a list of questions you're going to ask. What area do you want to live in? How much do you want to spend? Blah, 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 blah. There's ways that you can tailor those questions so that you can find out what personality type they are, right? So, Ryan, what's more important to you? 3,000 square feet or a beautiful view that overlooks the mountains? Which is more important to you? The 3,000 square feet person is going to be more of the D personality, or actually, no, it'd be more of the C personality, the specifics. I want 3,000 square feet. I want 4-bedroom. I want 3-bath. I want to be in these areas. My budget is this. Whereas like a S personality maybe would be more like, I like the views because I really like to sit out and watch them. And I like to watch the deer walk by and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, that's all great. Again, D personality here. That's all great. None of this helps me with your home search. I need to know more specifics. What does that beautiful, view look like to you? Because my beautiful view looks different than your beautiful view. You know what I mean? So personality types is huge, and identifying those personality types, understanding those personality types, and then kind of there's definitely been times in my listing presentation, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, where I've sat down with somebody and I can tell they're a D personality, and I am not going to capture their attention for an hour. I'm just not. They're not going to pay attention that long. They want to know, what's their house worth? How much am I going to charge? And how am I going to get it done? Right? So there's a lot of times that I'll skip through the fluff when I recognize, oh, this is a D personality. I need to cut to the chase, or I'm going to lose him by the time I get to the end, you know? So 4 laws of the database, like I said, we went over, build a database, feed it every day, communicate it systematically, and service all the leads. So trust in your database, follow the 4 laws, don't quit too soon. The 36 touch campaign takes time to yield results. Think long-term, always come from care and service. The real estate business is a relationship business. So, I mean, I guess a few things there. We went over the 4 laws. Don't quit too soon. Like, I last month, 2 months ago, 2 months ago, I closed a deal, a buy and a sell for a client that I have been working with for over 3 years. Over 3 years. Like, these people, they were an expired listing 3 years ago. I called them because of it, had a quick conversation about it with them, met with them in person. It was very clear when I met with them in person, they were not ready. Like, hey, your listing expired. We can get your listing back on the market. I can sell it, blah, 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 blah. Where are you moving if you sell your home? Oh, we're moving to this area. Okay, great. Have you talked to a lender yet? Well, no, but we bought this home, so we should be able to buy another one. I mean, maybe. Has your employment changed? Has your credit changed? Do you have more debt now? Have you missed some payments? Like, those all factor into, it's not just as simple as you own a home now, so you can own one again right now, you know? So I put them in touch with my lender. Turns out they did not have good credit. So for about 2.5 years after that, I had to nurture them, check in with them. Hey, how's it going with rebuilding the credit? How's it going with Eric, my loan guy? Like, is he helping you fix those things? Is he checking in with you? Is he whatever? And then eventually they got to a point where the credit was fixed and they were now ready to sell their home and buy their home. I mean, quite frankly, even in this market, I got 3 apples to list their home on their side, and I got 3 apples in the home that they purchased. You know what I mean? And getting 3 apples is very difficult in this market on either end. And I almost always get it. And a lot of it is, again, building that relationship with those people, having them trust me, like me, know me, and showing them my value. You know, hey, I was able to take you from 2.5, 3 years ago, not being able to buy a house. Now you own a $500,000 home. I helped you do that. You know, I teamed you up with the lender that helped you get that accomplished, you know, those types of things. So don't quit too soon, otherwise you'll miss out on deals. And then even in the follow-up, like my first year in real estate, there was an agent who got a Zillow lead, and God, I can't believe I still remember this. This is like 9 years ago. They got a Zillow lead. They called them twice. They told the team leader, hey, this lead sucks. It's not a good lead. They're not calling back. The team leader took it from that person and gave it to me and said, here, do you want to try your luck? And I said, sure. I called and I called and I called and I called. 12 weeks, 1 call every week, nothing, no responses. Week 13, now I could have quit at any point during that. I could have quit at week 2, week 3, 7, whatever. Week 13, they finally answer and I talk to them. They're ready to look at homes. We go and look at 2 homes. They don't like either of them. So I follow up with them to try to get them in other homes. Hey, do you guys want to look at these? Hey, you want to look at this? Hey, I found some more properties. For 8 more weeks after that, so 13 weeks of me following up, show them 2 houses. For the next 8 weeks, they ghosted me again. No responses, nothing. At any point in that 8 weeks, I could have given up again and just been like, all right, these people aren't for real. But on that 8th week, they answered again. They had a home that they saw that they wanted to see. We went and looked at it and they bought it, you know? So at any point in that first 13 weeks, I could have given up. At any point in that secondary 8 weeks where they ghosted me, I could have given up. I didn't. And that was the difference between making $7,000 or 0. You know what I mean? So just don't quit on people. Like my whole thing has been just call, text, email until they tell you I bought a house with somebody else, or I've sold my house with somebody else, or I'm just not interested. Please leave me alone. Like my whole thing has been buy or die. I am going to annoy you until you buy or die, or tell me to F off, basically. So keep reaching out. Again, the 36 touch campaign takes time to yield results. It definitely does. It takes time. You know, if you need now business, 36 touch isn't going to get you there because that's more for staying top of mind. Crest, Colgate, you know, think of that. It's not for finding today business, but you're going to want to think long term and think about how you're going to nurture those people, how you're going to stay on top of those people, and what verbiage you're using to make them want to reach out to you when they are finally ready. Always come from care and service. And again, the real estate business is a relationship business. Just like I was saying with my agent to agent referral partners, how do I explain this? Every time I meet with a seller, if it's over $500,000, then I will meet with that seller, and then I will come home and I'll send them a dozen strawberries dipped in chocolate from Sherry's Berries. If you're over, like, that's one of my processes. If you're over $500,000 and you didn't sign with me the minute, well, even if they did sign with me, I'd still send them the berries. But if you didn't sign with me that day, I'm going back to the office. I'm ordering a dozen strawberries. They're being delivered to that person the next day, and there's a note attached to it. Thanks for meeting with me about potentially listing your house. I hope to work with you guys in the future. I have my name and they get the strawberries. Cost me $50, right? But here's the thing. The psychology behind that is if you do something nice for somebody, they feel they need to reciprocate it back to you, right? So if they've met with 3 agents and I'm one of them and I send them a dozen strawberries and the other 2 agents don't do anything, that seller is going to think to themselves, I should probably use Marcus. I mean, he bought us those strawberries. They were really good. That was really nice of him. I'm going to feel like a jerk if I don't use him now. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're bribing. That $50 is worth it to me on a $500,000 home, which is a $10,000 or more commission, right? It's worth me spending $50 here and there to get those $10,000 commissions. So think of that relationship you're building with them and think of the things you're doing to be memorable to them. So success system. So you can see here, daily success system, how many conversations are you having every day? How many contacts are you adding? How many handwritten notes are you writing? Are you doing your social media engagement, enrichments, you know, those types of things, appointments that you're going on? I can tell you, let me see if I can put it right here. Oh, where is it? Come on. This is gonna be hard for you guys to see. Not on my face, but I need to see the screen. This is not gonna work at all. I'm gonna have to unblur my background. Hold on. My office is super messy, so please don't. Can I unblur my background? What's going on? It's like different because I'm not used to being the host. All right. Anyway, you can't see the sheet, but on the sheet, I literally have listed out every day how many calls did I make, how many people did I contact, how many text messages I sent out, how many text messages did I contact, how many for sale by owner calls did I make, how many did I contact, how many expired calls did I make, how many did I contact, how many postcard mailers did I mail out, how many letter mailers did I mail out, how many thank you cards did I mail out, how many total mailers did I mail out, how many listing appointments did I schedule, how many listing appointments did I go on, how many listings did I sign, what's the listing volume I signed, what's my potential commission, what's my listings that I put under contract today, what's my listing volume that I put under contract, how many buyer showings did I schedule today, how many buyer showings did I go on, how many buyers did I sign, how many buyers did I put under contract today, what's the buyer volume contract that I put under contract today. And I fill that out every single day so I can keep track of my numbers. Because one of the things that really motivated me is if you can keep track of those numbers, you can predict how much you're going to make, right? So let's just use round, easy numbers or whatever. Let's say your goal is to make $200,000 this year, right? And let's say, let me bring up my calculator. So let's say your goal is to make $200,000. And you know that in order to make $200,000, you got to sell 40 homes. It's $5,000 commission a home, right? These are cheap homes we're going to sell. All mobile homes, whatever. So I got to sell 40 homes. Well, how many buyers or sellers do I need to sign in order to sell 40 homes? Well, I know off of my numbers, I may need to sign 60 people because maybe some buyers never buy and just end up still renting. And maybe some sellers have unrealistic expectations and their price is too high and the property doesn't sell, whatever. All right, I got to set 60 I got to sign 60 people. So in order to sign 60 people, how many appointments do I need to go on? Well, I know based on my numbers, I need to go on 80 appointments. Actually, just make it 100, make it easy. I got to go on 100 appointments. So if you're backing up the information, in order to make $200,000, I need to go on 100 appointments because that's what gets me to my 80 or my 60 signed people and my 40 closed deals. Well, I know it takes 10 phone calls to set an appointment. So if my goal is that 100 appointments times 10, that means I need to make 1,000 phone calls. So now I can sit there and back things up and say, all right, well, in order to make $200,000, I need to make 1,000 phone calls. So that essentially means that it's doing it again. Right there, whatever. I make $200 for every phone call I make. Now, that's the averages, right? And so what that tells me is if I call 10 people today and 10 people go, no, 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 stop calling, don't answer, whatever. I know that even those no's made me $200 because those are my averages, right? So I used to walk into work every day and say, how much money do I want to make today? I want to make $5,000 today. Well, at $200 a phone call, that means I need to make 25 phone calls. And I wouldn't stop until I made those phone calls. You see what I'm saying? So these numbers over here that you see of 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, 10 handwritten notes, these numbers can change based on your conversion rates. And once you can break down based on your conversion numbers, how much money you make per phone call, it really motivates you to, all right, maybe I'll make 5 more phone calls real quick because I can make $1,000 if I make 5 quick phone calls. You know what I mean? So think about those things and then track those things so that you know your conversion rates, because then you can very easily predict how much money you're going to make next year. You know what I mean? I won't show it to you because this is being recorded and whatever, but I literally have a chart that tells me, for every mailer I mail out, about 1% of people will respond to me. Okay. So it's, 4,000 letters in a week. That's 40 people. I know out of those 40 people that odds are I'm going to meet with 10% of them. So I'm going to meet with 4 people every week. And out of those 4 people I meet with, 3 of them are going to be, in the future, 6 months out, 12 months out, whatever. One of those people may be looking to do something now. So I know that if I mail out 4,000 letters every week, I am going to get 1 listing every week. So I can predict, well, if I do my 4,000 letters every week for 52 weeks, that's going to be 52 listings. And I know if I get 52 listings, 40 of them are going to sell. And I know my average commission is about $13,000. So if my average commission is $13,000, I'm going to sell 40 properties. I'm going to make a little over $500,000 next year if I do my 4,000 letters every week. You see what I'm saying? You can predict your income based on the trackable activities that you're doing. So track the activities, not the results. Anyway, so that was that. So warning, do not call list and Telephone Consumer Protection Act. So again, this is very important. This is something that obviously our market center harps on quite a bit. Like I said, I think it's next week this all changes, where quite frankly, the changes will cripple some businesses if they haven't figured out their ways around these things. For example, the TCPA will now say it's a 1-to-1 consent, meaning previously, if someone went to Zillow and said, hey, I want to learn more about this property, Zillow took that information and they spit it out to 3 agents, right? And those 3 agents would all call that person because that person submitted their information and gave consent for those agents to reach out. The problem with that is with the new TCPA that's coming out, I think it's the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. With the new TCPA, it's a 1-to-1 consent, meaning that potential buyer has given consent to Zillow for Zillow to reach out to them, but they have not given consent for 3 random agents to call them. So a lot of businesses are going to have to pivot based off of that information because Zillow can no longer pass that information on to the agents that pay on their platform, that type of thing. We talked about it before, prospecting based. There's people out there that call for sale by owners and expireds all day, every day, like my buddy Justin Ford. The new TCPA says you can't use auto dialers. So if you're using a Vulcan or a Mojo or a RedX, potentially, you can't use those anymore for calling expireds and for sale by owners. And more importantly, you may not have one-to-one consent to call them because they never reached out to you and said, hey, Brian, I'm a for sale by owner. You can call me. That's cool. They never gave you that consent. So now you may not be able to call that person. Do you see what I'm saying? And the fines for TCPA can get very, very, very expensive. So make sure you're up on your TCPA. Make sure you're reading the new TCPA like rules, because it's something that you're really gonna. I mean, it's something I focus on because I use a company called Vulcan for expireds and for sale by owners, and it started to become, well, do I pay $300? Do I keep paying $300 a month for a dialer that I can't use now? You know, so just things to consider. Do not call list. Obviously, if they're on the do not call list, don't call them unless they've reached out to you first. So in my case, if I mail out one of my letters and that person responds to me, I do have consent to call them back because they did reach out to me first. So get help. Use command and answers.kw.com to get help. If you guys ever have problems with command or any of these types of things, reach out to KT Temple. KT can help you through a lot of these things. He's obviously our tech guy for our market center. So he'll help with a lot of this. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. So think about that and think about how, does that fit your personality and how you conduct your business? So, hey, look at that. Last 15 minutes. That's perfect. Oh my God, almost to the minute. In the last 15 minutes, ask participants to share results from their success system. So again, here's the success system. What results have you seen from you guys tracking your numbers? Is anybody tracking their numbers? Let's start there.
I will say that I have not been religiously tracking my numbers, but I absolutely give it my best effort. And I do find that when I put effort into that, I strive to do better in my next week or my next day or my next month. I just want to do more than I did before. And so it does motivate me when I actually follow the system and do the work, more than when I don't. So it does help.
Good. I was gonna say a lot for me, I'll be honest, like it excites me when I don't know how to explain it. Tim's gonna hate me for this. I don't make a lot of phone calls. I don't like making phone calls. Like I said, I'm a marketing-based agent. I want people to call me. So I let my CRM do the heavy lifting. I let them send the text messages. I let them send the emails. I'm working with a colleague of mine right now. I don't know how much of this I should say. They have a thing called AI agent that they work on, where the AI agent will replicate you and conduct phone calls as if it were you. It's pretty awesome and pretty scary. She was like, she's huge into AI, like I don't even know how to explain it. So she's actually developed this thing called AI agent that can do 10,000 phone calls simultaneously, and it mimics you. It talks like you, has the same speech patterns, has the same voice, tonality, like everything, and will converse with, like, it'll, hey, Ryan, I saw that you were looking at XYZ on my website. And then you would say something, and it would, in real time, take that, translate it, come up with, obviously, a response to that, and then talk as if it were me, and have whole conversations with people in real time. Like I said, 10,000 people simultaneously. So some of that's kind of interesting to me. I really enjoy, like I said, my CRM, where I put people into it, and then I sit back, and then, like, every day I probably get 3 to 5 emails or text messages where the people will say, hey, tell me more about this, or I'd like to come meet with you about this. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of text messages and emails that my system's putting out. So on my daily success system, I mean, this one that I picked up, this is from July 12th of 2024. On that day, I made 9 phone calls. I talked to 9 people. I sent 1 text message, talked to 1 person through text message. I sent 4 postcards. This is a terrible day. I sent 4 postcard mailers. I sent 22 letters. That was it. That's all I did for the day. And last year was my best year ever. Like I did about just a tad under 9 million in volume, you know, off of making 9 phone calls roughly every day, you know. So mine will look much different than yours, but again, tracking those numbers is going to kind of help get you to where you want to be. So this just says prepare for the next session with open houses. But I guess in the last 10 minutes or so, AMA, ask me anything. I will answer honestly. I will tell you the good and the bad and my experiences. So if it's in relation to this, bonus points, great. But if not, feel free to ask me anything. Or yeah. What do you guys got going on that you want answers to?
So I attended a networking event yesterday, or actually the day before that. And a lot of what they're talking about is don't come from a sales perspective, right? Don't show that you are a salesperson. Try to make these genuine connections with people.
Mhm.
What is your take on that? Because at one point you said, hey, you know, I'm a salesperson. Don't trust what I'm saying. Look at my reviews. How do you feel about that kind of dichotomy of either, hey, I'm not a salesperson versus I am a salesperson?
So I've done sales for a really long time. So I've developed some techniques over the years that makes me a very salesy non-salesperson. Okay. One of the things, like, how do I explain this? One of the things that I think sets me apart and makes me very different than most people. Most salespeople talk very fast, right? You've noticed I talk very slow. I have purposely slowed myself down. You know what I mean? I purposely throw in ums and pauses, like I am right now, just then, to make people listen. When you're just talk, people stop listening. But when someone talks to you and then pauses like that for a while, if you weren't paying attention, you're like, oh shit, should I have been paying attention? He just stopped talking. Was I supposed to respond? They start listening again. So I purposely throw in pauses. I purposely talk very slow because people don't associate a slow talker with a salesperson. However, if you took the words that I say and transcribed them and then read them with no other context, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy is a slimy salesperson. Look at the words he's using. Look at the way he's leading the person to where he needs to go. But I don't come off that way because I talk very slow. And I try, like you said, I try to build those genuine connections. And I will find ways to make me look amazing without sounding like I'm bragging. Okay. I met with a lady last week. I live in Barrington. She lives in Barrington. $700,000 house she wants to list, but not until probably like April, June-ish. Okay. I met with her, and when I met with her and I was going over everything, I said to her, I'm like, you know, I got to be honest with you. I have different packages based on different things that you want. Most of them are unassisted showings, because that's what most people do. That being said, I live in Barrington. I'm 5 minutes from your house. You don't know this. I'm less than a mile from your house. I can be here for every showing because you're 5 minutes from my house. Now, there may be a time that, like today, I'm teaching a class. I may not be able to be there for an appointment, so I may not be able to go to all of the showings, but I am willing to do assisted showings as often as I can at no extra charge because I'm local to you. And I'm giving information, but really what I'm doing is being salesy there. Hey, I'm important. Like, pick me because I live in your town. I'm less than a mile from you. Nobody knows more about this town than I do because I live in it. I'll be able to sell your house the best. And of course, I throw in my other little humble brags. Well, I take that back. I won't be able to go to all of your showings because the first and third Tuesdays of every month from 7:30 till about 10 o'clock, I'm going to be unavailable because I'm on the Barrington Town Planning Board. So now oh, hold on a second. I won't be able to be there for all the showings, but it's because I'm on the planning board for our town. So being that I'm your local agent and on the planning board for your town, doesn't that probably make me the best agent before we even talk about my sales and my reviews and all the other stuff? You know what I mean? But I'll find ways to interject those things. One thing I used to do with buyers all the time, this is super creepy. Before you meet with a buyer, what do you know? You know their name, you know what they're looking for, right? I will not Google, I'll go on Facebook and I'll try to find them. And I had one guy once that I did this on, new client, get his name. I go on Facebook, I search him up, I see him. Many times Facebook's profiles are private, right? But you can still see the profile picture and you can still see old profile pictures. I click through his profile pictures. There's like 30 of them. 20 of them are either a picture of a snowmobile or him on a snowmobile, right? Okay, clearly the dude likes snowmobiling. What property are we looking at? Okay, cool. Where's the closest snowmobile trail? So then I go and I show him the property. Oh, hey, Ryan, nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. Here's the house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Super cool. I don't know if you're into this, but there's a snowmobile trail about half a mile from here. What does that do? That makes the person love the house, right? Oh my God, snowmobile trail. Oh, that's awesome. I love snowmobiling. He doesn't know that I know that about him, right? Or I go through the profile pictures and I see that every 5th picture is the dude wearing a Red Sox hat. So I'll, hey, did you watch the game last night? Can you believe he struck out 10 people last night? That was amazing. I only know that because I looked at the box score. I didn't watch the game. You know what I mean? So I can be not salesy, but being salesy. I'm building trust in that person. I'm getting that person to like me based off of my sales expertise of going to Facebook and researching that person and understanding that person so that I know how to present things in a way that was favorable outcome to me. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things like that you can do. And that's, quite frankly, like I said, that's how I've always run my business, is to be a non-salesy salesperson. To the people I meet, I'm not very salesy. But again, if you take the words I use and transcribe them and read them, you're like, oh my God, he is the salesiest of salesy salespeople. So I personally enjoy that. As a salesperson myself, I know when I'm being sold on something, right? And we'll go back to my vacation in Jamaica I just got back from. Hey, we meet with the concierge and she's like, hey, tomorrow morning at 8:30, we're going to take you on a tour of the property. We got there at like 5 o'clock at night. We're like, oh, cool. She's like, yeah. And by going on a tour, you get $200 off the spa. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. And after we left the concierge, we learned that tour wasn't a tour. It was a opportunity for them to sell timeshares to us. That's what it was. It wasn't, I didn't need to tour the property because from 5 o'clock at night until about 11 o'clock that night, I toured the property. I walked the whole thing myself with my wife and my friends, right? So I canceled it. And the person, they came to again, it was supposed to be at 8:30, 8:20, a minion knocks on my door. Hey, you ready for the 8:30 appointment with Regina? Oh, no, we're actually not going to do that now. Thank you though. Oh, okay. She leaves. 10 minutes later, the Regina lady concierge is at our door, knocking on our door. Hey, you ready for the 8:30 appointment? No, we actually told the other lady we're actually not going to do that today, like blah, 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 blah. And you can feel the desperation in some salespeople. Oh, well, why don't you want to go? And I BS'd her and was like, oh, we just woke up, first night at the all-inclusive, we got real drunk. We're just now waking up. We're good. Oh, do you want to reschedule it for another time? No, not really. We don't really know what the plans are right now. And she's like, oh, well, why don't you want to reschedule? Let's reschedule. Like, And I'm like, no, I'm good. And she's like, well, what about your friends? Are your friends coming for the 8:30 tour? I'm like, I have no idea. Talk to them. Go find them. And she's like, well, can you call them or text them? No, I'm not going to call them or text them. You go find out if they're going on this tour. I don't fucking know. And she's like, well, it would just save me the time from walking over to their room because they were in a different building. And I'm like, this isn't my problem. I'm good. I'm shutting the door now, Regina. Have a great day. Like, as a salesperson, you can feel when you're being sold. And even non-salespeople can sometimes feel that when it gets overly pushy like that, right? So there's other better ways that she could have handled that. If she wanted to show up, she could have just said, hey, I'm just here to remind you about the 8:30. We didn't see you out front, so I just figured I'd come and check on you. make sure everything was okay. You know, that you found your room okay and blah, whatever. Oh, you don't want to go? Oh, no problem. You know, what made you change your mind? Oh, okay, that's totally understandable. What would cause you to maybe change your mind again in the future about taking the tour? If we offered you more money towards the spa, would you consider going? You know what I mean? Like, there's ways that you can be non-salesy and still be salesy. Anyway, talking about that a lot. We've hit 11 o'clock, but I can stay for more questions if you guys have more questions.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
If we get down to the brass tacks, I get off this call, what's the one thing I should do to try to grow my database? What should I do at 11:05?
So it's a numbers game. Real estate is a 100% numbers game. The more people you know, the more business you'll do. We talked about this. I had the agent on my team that I referred to as dumb. She's no longer on my team. I can talk about this. She doesn't even work in this brokerage anymore, so I can talk about it. I fired her from my team because she had a buyer under contract, went on a home inspection. The radon levels were high. And instead of helping guide her client through the high radon, she said to them, Ryan, I don't know why you're so concerned about high radon. You smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. That's not an outside voice. That's an inside voice. Say that to your spouse. Say that to your colleagues. Never say it to a client because that's the quickest way to get fired. That's extremely rude. So she got herself fired. She still to this day does 30 to 40 transactions a year with that level of dumb. Okay. So it's just meeting as many people as you can. What I would ask you, in what scenario can you meet the most people the quickest and still feel comfortable? What does that look like for you? I had an agent on my team once that told me my lead gen is every day I go out to lunch to a different restaurant and I sit at the bar. And I will sit at the bar eating my meal for 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, I must give out 20 business cards. I must have 20 conversations with 20 other people sitting at the bar and pass out my business card. And that's my entire lead generation. And that person, she probably makes about 80 to 90 grand a year still at our brokerage. And that's all she does for lead gen. I work out of the Dover office. Melissa Lesniak. All she does is networking. That's all she does. She does zero marketing. Melissa does probably about 50 deals a year. And quite frankly, every day of the week is a different networking event. And every networking event, she sees the same 10 people. So every week, she sees the same 50 people and sells 50 houses a year. Not making calls, not spending money on advertising. But it's because she's influential over those 50 people, and those 50 people are influential over hundreds or thousands of people, right? So where can you go every day, or what can you do every day to have conversations with people around real estate where you can meet a lot of people, do it consistently, and be comfortable doing it? Because if you're uncomfortable doing it, you're not going to do it consistently, right? So I've seen some people that sit at a coffee shop with their laptop open doing work, and on the back side of their laptop, it's a sticker that just says, I'm a real estate agent. Ask me anything. And people will walk in, and over time, they would see, this person that I knew that did it, they would do it from 9 to 11 every day. And people would walk in and they would see that person sitting by the cashier station, having a coffee, but laptop open, clearly like an advertisement. And I'm like, you need to do that every day, because there's somebody inevitably who is thinking about buying a home and has never said anything to you. And today they woke up and said, you know what? I'm finally going to ask that person about how to buy a home. And that's going to be the day that you're not there. You need to be there every day, because they're expecting you to be there every day when they're there every day getting their coffee, right? So it's just about being comfortable in what you do so that you do it consistently, and then meeting people and having conversations with them, and then finding out a way to get their contact info. So for a newer agent, one great way to get their contact info is, I meet you, Ryan, at the coffee shop, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, let me give you one of my cards. Oh, shoot. I met with a client this morning. I gave out my last card. What can I get your contact info, and I'll just write it down in my laptop? People are going to say sure. realistically, I have like 20 business cards in my pocket. But if I give you a business card, I never hear from you again. If I ask you to, oh, shoot, I just ran out. Give me your contact info. Now I definitely have it, right? So you just have to figure out what works for you, what makes you feel comfortable, what you're going to do consistently, and how you can you just keep talking with more people. Like it's really just a numbers game. There's some dumb agents out there that get business. You're better than them. I promise you. In fact, every time this particular agent I'm talking about, every time I see them list a new property, I see that as a failure on my part, because that seller, like, how to explain it? That seller met that agent and thought, well, this is the level of competency that all agents are. Do you know what I'm saying? Those sellers met with that agent and said, this is the best of the best. You know?
Rough.
So I see it as a failure on my part that I didn't talk to that seller first. That's my fault. That I didn't meet with that person, talk with that person, find some sort of marketing avenue to get in front of that person first. You know? Yeah, I mean, that's really just it. It's just meeting people, talking with people, and figuring out, in my opinion, what works for you. You know? It's that easy. It's not hard. Real estate is easy, not hard. Or what is it? Real estate is simple, not easy. You just have to do the activities. I have one coach that tells me, he'll say this all the time. You don't have a lead problem. You have an activity problem. If you don't have leads, it's because you didn't do the activities. There is no lead problem. Millions of people buy and sell homes every year. There is no lead problem. There's an activity problem. You didn't do the activities to get the lead. So, I don't know. Anything else, guys? I know we're over, but like I said, I don't mind answering questions.
Can I ask a quick question, specific to golden letters?
Yeah.
So I have sent out, I focused pretty hard over this past summer on golden letters. I sent about 1,800 of them. I got 23 call backs, and I didn't convert a single one of them to an appointment.
Yep.
Which I'm embarrassed to say, but I haven't spent the time to figure out how to overcome those objections of, well, do you actually have a buyer to buy my house? You know, why don't you just bring your buyer over to my house to show them and see if it's a fit for them?
Yep.
How do you get past that?
That specific objection?
Yeah, I mean, how do you get, like, from them calling you back, do you actually have a buyer? Like, how do you get past that? Like, no, I work with a pool of buyers, so maybe I do have a buyer. It's best for me to see your house before I figure out if I have the right buyer or not. I've tried like a slew of things, and I just can't get to their house to actually like have a better conversation.
So it depends. A lot of times I'll send out those golden letters around buyers that I am actually working with, because then it is real. Like, you know, oh yeah, you know, my friends Matt and Nikki, they've been looking for a house in this area for a while, and blah 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 blah, and we've written some offers, and like I have one buyer, my friend Richard, no exaggeration, 2.5 years I've been working with him. We've looked at about 80 homes. We've submitted offers on 40 of them. His offer has not been accepted. And every year we go through this process of looking at houses for about 3 months. We can't get our offer accepted because the market's been crazy. And then he rents again. And then, you know, 10 months later, when his lease is coming due soon, he reaches back out and says, all right, we got 3 months again. Let's look at houses and hopefully we can find one before my lease is up. So I have sent letters out on his behalf before saying like, hey, I have this buyer. He's looking in Seabrook. He wants a 3-bedroom starter home, really wants to be under $500,000, blah, 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 blah. If you're interested, please reach out to me. Now, in the event that you're doing letters like you're stating, where you're saying you have a buyer, but you don't, that gets a lot more tricky. I could do one of two things. I could either say, I have a database of 16,102 buyers. Your home may be a good opportunity for them. I don't know without viewing it, and I don't know specifically which buyers to tell about it because I haven't seen your house. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the condition. I don't know your asking price. I don't know anything about it. So I kind of go down that road with them of like, why don't I come and preview the property with you? And then more than likely, I probably have a dozen or so buyers that this home would probably work for. I just need to know which dozen I need to tell about your home. So let's schedule a time to see it. There are some agents that will just flat out lie I don't personally like that, but there are some agents out there that will say, you know, hey, yep, I do have these buyers and blah, 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 but they're out of state. So why don't I take a look at it for them and then I'll report back to them? And really it's just their way of getting in the house and meeting with the potential seller and blah, blah, blah. To me, I don't really like that because you are starting that relationship off on a real bad foot. You're starting it off on a lie. Like, so I typically mail my letters out around buyers that I'm working with, and kind of take it from there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, that makes sense.
And if I don't have like a specific, like again, Richard's a very specific buyer, 3 bedroom, Seabrook, under $500,000. If I don't have that, but I still want to target an area, I might do, my database one. Hey, I got 16,000 people in there. I'm sure I have people for your home. I just don't know which ones are the right ones until I see your home. So why don't I? And I make sure that when I go to those meetings, I'm not salesy. Like, because you will have people that will see through that and be like, I thought you had a buyer. Why are you pitching me on listing my house? What is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just have to have those conversations. And like, for me, like I said, golden letters are usually around buyers that I am actually working with, and we all have buyers that aren't looking in just one town. Richard is looking in just Seabrook, but maybe I got a buyer that's looking in Dover, Somersworth, Rollinsford, Lee, Madbury, right? So now I can send that letter out to 5 towns and have a bigger pool of potential people because my buyer is legitimately looking in those 5 towns because there isn't enough properties out there. You know what I mean? So I would take it from that route. Now, as far as your conversion numbers go, you said you sent out how many letters?
About 1,800.
Okay. And you had 25 people respond?
Yep, I got 23 callbacks.
Yeah. So that's about right. Like I said, response rate is usually a little over 1%, and you're getting that. Like I said, I've sent out a lot of mailers. Last year, I stopped doing it for a while because I went to a different system that was working better for me, but I'm going to get back into it this year. But last year, I sent out a little over 18,000 mailers, golden letters specifically. I can tell you that off of those 18, I'd bring it up, but I don't really want to screen record it. Off of those 18,000 people, maybe I can bring it up on my phone and I could read you the exact numbers. Hold on. I mean, I'll tell you my conversion rates. Right here. Okay. So last year, I sent out 18,740 golden letters. I had 176 responses. That's just under 1%. Out of the 176 people that responded, 90 of those people I actually got to talk to, meaning I called them, they answered, we spoke. So half of the people that responded didn't even take a phone call with me, basically. Out of the 90 people I talked to, 8 of them let me come to their house and meet with them, right? Out of those 8 people that I met with, 2 of them signed a listing agreement right then and there. So just backtracking those numbers a little bit, I sent out 18,000 letters to get 2 listings. Okay.
That's a lot.
It is. It's a crap ton. Now, my ROI on this is still 22.5 times what I spent. Okay. Because there's other factors you got to think about. So the 2 people that signed with me, both of them were $1.4 million properties. And both of them signed with 3 apples minimum to my side. So one of them was higher than 3. So my commission on those 2 deals was pushing $100,000. So a couple of things there. Number one, it was a great price point. I negotiated my commission very high. And then bigger to all of this, and this is the struggle, I think, for a lot of people with golden letters right now. What is your, and I'll ask you, maybe you don't even know, what's your cost per piece? How much does it cost you per letter that you mail out? Do you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. It's roughly like $1.75.
Wow, that's a lot. Why is it $1.75? Why is it so much money?
Well, I mean, originally I was paying, like, I had an ink subscription. Yeah, so I have figured out now how to get that cost down.
Yep.
But I was paying way too much for ink I was ordering paper online, like in one ream at a time. I was paying, like I was buying envelopes in smaller quantities that just cost more money. So it is a lot. I've figured out how to get that down. But I don't want to send out more letters till I do more digging on how to convert these calls, because it's not worth the money until I know what I'm doing with it.
Yeah. So yeah, your cost per piece is way too high.
Yeah. I mean, a stamp alone I was paying for regular postage as well.
Yeah. So I can tell you, because I'm looking at it right now, my cost per mailer is 26 cents,
Holy smokes.
and that includes the stamp. So
So I
there's
was going to the post office and just buying rolls of stamps. But yeah, that's part of my problem.
my cost per stamp is 16 cents. My cost per envelope is 6 cents. My cost for printing is 3 cents. My wear and tear on the machine that I purchased is basically a penny a letter. That makes my total cost 26 cents per piece. So if I go back to my results that I'm looking at, 18,740 letters that I mailed out cost me $3,750.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you just have to figure out ways to cut your costs.
Yeah.
Can you get stamps cheaper? Do you need a machine that will stamp them for you? Do you, like, they have things called postage meters?
Yeah.
I can tell you postage meters aren't worth it, because I've looked into it. Postage meters only saves you 4 cents per stamp, but will print basically a stamp on the letter. But it only saves you 4 cents per stamp, and those machines cost about $300 a month to rent. So it doesn't make sense. But yeah, you got to find a cheaper paper supplier, a cheaper print supplier, a cheaper envelope supplier. Like, work on getting those costs down. Most people, when they send mailers, are closer to like 80 cents a piece, because it's, like I said, 6 cents for an envelope, 3 cents for printing. Stamp is 72 cents now. I don't even know. What is the stamp now? 72?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So most people around the 80 to 85 cents per piece mark. Like I said, when I do something, especially if I'm spending my money, I dive really deep into it to learn as much as I can about that process and how I can make it better and cheaper and faster.
Yep.
So like I said, my stamp provider is, what did I say, 16 cents? Hold on, I had it right here.
Yeah, I think that's what you had said. Yep.
16 cents, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I'd love to learn how to do that.
But I buy my stamps in bulk.
Yeah.
Last time I bought stamps, I bought 15,000 stamps. That's a lot of stamps.
And they're not are they forever stamps, or are you using?
Yep, they're for. Do we have? Well, I got a bunch at my house, but I mean, yeah, they're literally rolls of forever. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not even going to get crossed, but yeah, I got rolls everywhere. I think my big thing's at home, where I have like 10,000 stamps at home, but yeah, so it's working on those costs. The secondary problem you haven't thought of yet, because most people don't. By the way, if any of you need to leave the room, you guys can leave. Like, we're way over. Like, don't feel like you have to stick around because I'm still talking. Where was I going with this? Crap, I was talking about the stamps. I just lost it.
That's okay.
These
What was I saying?
things people don't think about.
Oh. So you said you mailed out, oh my God, I messed it up again. 2,500?
1,800
letters. Even if you get your cost down to 80 cents per piece, okay? I just told you my statistics. I sent out 18,740 letters.
Yeah.
I got 2 listings.
Yeah.
So on a large sample size, 9,500 letters gets you a listing. But then you start to ask yourself, I'm going to try to do this with it, or whatever. 9,500. Oh. Okay, well, that's not really working. 9,500 times 80 cents a piece means you will spend $7,600 to get a listing. Now, a couple of things. Number one, you spent $7,600 to get a listing. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Number two, there's no guarantee that listing is going to sell. right? So you may have spent $7,600 to get a listing that's overpriced. Number three, even if you get a listing and you are able to sell it, can you guarantee that your commission is going to be more than $7,600? You know what I'm
Right. Yeah.
saying? Even if it was 10 grand, now you've only made $2,400, but you still had to service the listing. You still had to pay for the photos. You still had to pay for the sign. You still had to market it. So it starts to,
Taxes and everything else. Yeah, you've basically lost money,
yeah.
which is
So
why I stopped. Because
a
I
lot of-
figured at that point I had lost money. There was no way I was going to recoup that with one listing.
Right. So a lot of people start doing this and then stop very quickly because they do kind of like what you did. Hey, I mailed out 1,800 letters, didn't get any business. This was a waste of time and money. I mean, God, even at 18, gosh, that means that 1,800 letters at $1.75 roughly a piece, you spent probably the same amount of money I did mailing 18,000 letters. You see what I'm
I
saying?
know. I was sitting here thinking of that same thing, and I don't think that's the case. So I must have figured wrong somewhere,
Yeah.
because I don't think I would have done that. But I'd have to go back and look. I don't have it in front of me right now.
So one of the discussions I was having with a colleague about this is if you're running your business like a business, you know every single one of your costs. I know 26 cents per piece. Like I know that. I know what my numbers are. And so I was telling her, I'm like, even if you got the same conversion numbers as me, your cost per piece is still going to make it very prohibitive. You're not going to make much money. It's not going to be worth the time, you know? I'm like, so you have to start thinking of ways of how do I cut costs and how do I make things cheaper? And one of the way, God, I really wish I could turn off my blur. Oh, right there. That is my letter machine. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
So to save me time and money, that machine, I can put letters in one tray. I can put envelopes in the other. It will pull the letter, fold it, stuff the envelope, and seal it at a rate of 3,000 letters per hour.
Wow.
Okay. So that saves me a crap ton of time. When I say I mail out 4,000 letters a week, I'm not lying. It only takes me about an hour. Now, the part that takes me a little bit longer is this. These are all my letters that are going to go out. And it doesn't matter which one I pick. We'll pick this one. Oh, signed by me. Every single letter signed by me. These whole 2 stacks. It's about 3,000 letters. Every single one hand signed by me. That's what takes me the most time. But it's just, you got to do the letters, and then the thing I learned is you have to have that follow-up process in place for, hey, I'm 6 months out, I'm 12 months out. So what do you do with those people? Well, for me, I told you, I skip trace them, and then I drip emails on them, I drip text messages on them, and then I put them into a secondary mailer bracket where every time I list a property, they get a mailer. Every time I put somebody under contract, they get a mailer. Every time I close a property, they get a mailer. And then once a month, they also get a fluff mailer from me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Valentine's Day, whatever it might be. And that keeps me top of mind with them so that in 6 to 12 months when they are ready, they're like, oh yeah, I remember meeting with Marcus a year ago, and I've been getting all of his letters since and getting his text messages and getting his email. So now I am ready to list with him. This lady that I met with in Barrington last week, she was one of those. I had a buyer looking to buy in Barrington last winter, mailed out the letter to the entire town. She responded. I kept her on my drips. And so like 3 weeks ago, she reached out to me, and then I went to come out about listing her house. You know what I mean? So it's somebody that I've already had contact with a year ago. I have not physically talked or texted her in a year, other than my database, my CRM doing it for me. And that was enough for her to call me back out to meet with her. And again, a $700,000 house. I think the package she picked with me was the 3% package. So it's going to be a $21,000 commission when that property sells. And she's a motivated seller because they've already bought their property in North Carolina that they're moving to. So it's just think about how do you cut costs and how do you speed up the process.
Yep.
In fact,
Makes sense.
let's kind of see a little bit. Prior to that machine, I had, oh, it's not gonna reach all the way. Oh no, I'm knocking stuff down. There's a machine right here. It's really tiny. You can see it sticking up a little bit right there. That was the old machine that I used to use. That was a much cheaper machine. That big machine in the back cost $17,000. That smaller machine cost like $500. So I started with the smaller one, and then literally the first batch of mailings I did was 2,800 letters to Barrington because I had a buyer looking in Barrington. A person responded. I met with them. Turns out they're getting divorced. Turns out she has already acquired her new apartment. They needed to sell now. Cut to like 6 weeks later, we closed at $720,000 and 3.5% to my side. So you're actually, no, it was 4% to my side on that one. So we're talking a little over $28,000 in commissions on the first batch of letters that I ran. I took that $28,000 and I started investing it into better systems. That folder is good, but not great. The big one is amazing. That's where some of the money went. You know what I mean? You just, as you act like a business person, and as you sell, take that money and reinvest it back into your business to get better. Like, I mean, I'm not bragging about this, but this month I'm going to close about $70,000 in commissions. Okay. I mean, I told you, I just got back from Jamaica, and in 2 more days, Monday, I leave for Phoenix for a conference. I go on a lot of trips with that money, but I make sure to earmark some of that money, a good chunk of that money, to make my systems better. So 3 months ago, I hired a virtual assistant that handles a lot of this stuff for me. And now I'm at the point where I want to start doing more golden letters again, but I don't have time to run that machine, the 4,000 letters a week. So I'm going to hire someone to do it for me, because I know that even if I pay somebody $1,000 a week to run that machine for me, that machine's going to make me more than $1,000 a week if done correctly. You know what I mean? So it's just leveling up as you go, basically. Tammy,
Did you say that you did too, Marcus, or is it just the folder, or does it print?
say that again? What?
Does it print the letters, or is it just
That
fold?
machine? No, it just pulls them, folds them, stuffs them, seals them.
Got it.
I honestly, I just print using the KW printers, because the KW printers are 3 cents per
Yep.
page for black and white. And you can't, I used to do what Kelsey used to do. I used to do HP Instant Ink, and HP Instant Ink is more than 3 cents per page.
Yeah.
So I take advantage of the low cost of our printing here. And I don't print in color because color is too expensive. It's 13 cents per page. At the volume that I do, I mean, it sounds stupid, 4,000 letters per week times 10 cents. Yeah, wait, is that right? That's $400 extra? Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. It's not worth the extra $400 a week just for my letter to be in color. It's just not worth it. If they're going to call, they're going to call. You know what I mean? So things like that too, you got to consider. Like, and Kelsey, maybe that's why your cost was so high. Maybe you're printing all in color. Maybe you were printing a tax card to go with it, or a tax map or something. I don't do any of that. It's 1 page, black and white, with my signature. Like, it is practically nothing. And it's quantity over quality, basically. You just want to get that message out to as many, we talked about it with Ryan, just getting your message out to as many people as you can the fastest. Anybody else have questions? I feel like I'm just talking now, and everybody's camera's off, so I don't even know if you guys are there anymore.
Thank you. I use an iPad and I was on the verge of dying, so I had to turn off my camera because it's in an awkward position now. Thank you so much for this. This is really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta jump off, but have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
It has been a delight. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks, Marcus.
Marcus, I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Tammy.
That's okay. I was just saying thanks, and maybe I'll see you soon, Marcus. Like, I don't know, in a couple days.
Like Monday? Yeah.
Monday, yeah. See you, bye.
See ya.
Quick question about your packages. I heard you mention packages. That's something I've heard other realtors kind of talk about a bit. It's something I'm interested myself in. Could you speak briefly on that?
Yeah, so I think I might have been the first one at our market center to start doing this, but we call it a menu of services. You're talking about the listing side, right? When I kept talking about the different packages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, quite frankly, you can go to it, marcuskatkin.com. click on the seller tab, click on flexible commission plans, and you can see everything that I offer. I have 4 different packages. And so I sit down with a seller and I say, hey, I have 4 different packages. This is my commission rate for each package. This is what's included in the packages. What works best for you? And what that does is it eliminates the objection. It eliminates those people that meet with somebody and go, I charge 6% and I'm going to do video and I'm going to do this and I'm going to blah, 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 and all these things. And I charge 6%. So you're going to, here we go. Well, what if that person doesn't want to spend 6%? Maybe they don't want the video. Maybe they don't want the 3D tour. Maybe they don't want whatever, right? They're not going to tell you that. They're just going to say, all right, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. They're never going to look at you and say 6% is too much. Some people might, high D personalities might. Most people won't. They can't be that confrontational face-to-face with somebody, right? So when you present a menu of services and you go, here's my 4 packages, here's the commission rates, you get to pick what you want to pay me. They pick, and then there's no objection. Cool. Hey, you want the gold package? Awesome. 2.5%? Sounds great. There is no, that's too expensive. Because then I just look at them and I go, well, Ryan, you picked the package. You could have picked the 2% package. You didn't. Do you want to do the 2% package? You picked the price. I didn't pick the price. So if I'm too expensive, it's because you picked the expensive package. You can, you can pick the cheaper one. But I don't get that objection because they got to choose, right? And quite frankly, I talked about earlier, the 10 listings I took in August, 8 of them were 3% or more to my side. So it's not like I'm a discount agent and that's why I'm getting listings and I'm just like, yeah, I'm only gonna charge you 1% on my side. No, I'm charging them 3% or more. Like I said, that one in Barrington, $720,000 house, I charged them 4% on my side. That's the package they picked and that's the package they got. And there's no, it sets really good expectations. Because if a person ever calls me and says, Marcus, you didn't do a 3D tour of my property, I would go, yes, Ryan, I didn't. Because you picked the 2% package and you saw under the 2% package, there is no 3D tour. If you'd like a 3D tour, we can definitely do that. That's in the gold package. That's 2.5%. Right? Like, it sets really good expectations with my clients. There's no, oh, I thought I was getting this. Oh, I thought I was getting that. No. It's literally on my website. You literally have a printout of it in front of you in the packet that I'd given you. You picked this. So if you thought you were getting something, you need to read a little better. You know what I mean? But yeah, it just eliminates that objection. It's great. And most people pick the 3%. If you look at it on my website, you'll see the platinum package is typically the 3% package. All of the packages except for that package are in black. The platinum package is in purple and it's bold. And underneath it says most popular.
Looking at it right now.
Yeah. Most of that is the psychology you use behind it. Because when you do it that way, the purple color draws attention to that one, right? Also, people look at it and they go, oh, this is the most popular package? And I go, yep. Most people want to be like other people. They don't want to be different. Because if they're different, that's usually perceived as being weird, right? So, well, if everybody picks the 3% package, I should pick the 3% package. You should. You should. And even then, I think it's the diamond package I have on the far right. Nobody ever picks the diamond package. You know why nobody ever picks the diamond package? Because I charge 5% for just that. Okay? So why do I have the diamond package if nobody picks it? It's to make the platinum package look like a good deal, right? So the platinum package is the diamond package is there strictly to make the 3% package look good. Because if I only had 3 packages and I said the most popular one was the most expensive one, would you believe me? Probably not.
Probably not.
But if I told you my most popular package is my second most expensive, would you believe it? Yeah. Because why would you say it's the most popular if it isn't? Right? So there's a lot of psychology there that goes into why I do it that way and why it works. and why I don't get objections.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Marcus.
It's just like when you're setting a price with somebody for the listing price of their house, I'll tell them that too. I'll go, Ryan, you and I are going to be equity partners in getting this property sold. You and I both have a vested interest in getting this property sold. At the end of the day, you're going to select the price that we list at, but it's going to be based off of the comps that I have pulled. I will list at whatever price you want me to list at, as long as it's within these comps that I have shown you. Again, we're going to decide the price together, but you're going to have more equity than I am. You're going to have more say in the price than I am. Okay. And I'll show them the comps and kind of go over them all with them and explain them all. And then I'll ask them, what do you want to list at? And as long as that price that they want to list at is within what I believe the property is worth, then I list it. Right. And then, because it's awesome, because then when you list the property and it sits on the market and doesn't sell, isn't getting any showings, instead of that, when that person calls you and goes, Marcus, what's going on my property? You haven't sold it yet. I can sit there and I can go, Ryan, I'm doing everything I can. I can tell you that, yes, showings are low. Typically, when showings are in this bracket, it's because we're a little overpriced. Now, I know I didn't get to set the price. You got to decide on the price, but maybe it is time for a price reduction. What are your thoughts on that? You know what I mean? It puts it back on them. Ryan, I would love the property to sell too. You picked the price. I didn't pick the price. It takes the onus off of you. You know what I mean?
Very smart.
So you can use that too, which is really good. But anyway. All right. I guess we'll wrap up there because I've been drinking this water and kind of need to use the restroom. And we're like way over. But yeah, so
Really appreciate it, Marcus.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for coming. Yeah, if you see me around the market center, come say hi.
Will do. Talk to you
All right.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye guys.
Bye.